What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. Tonight, the Blazers blew a 20-point lead at home against the Chicago Bulls. Before tonight, NBA teams were 49-0 this year when leading a game by 20 points. The Blazers are the first team in this NBA season to blow a 20-point lead, and they do it against a depleted, very bad Chicago Bulls team. What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are having a good night despite this loss. The Blazers have some obvious problems that we'll get into on the screen. We're not going to have the stats graphics. There's just no point. There's bigger things to talk about than any one individual, so I'm not sure we're even going to touch on individual players in this game. There's just obviously some very serious issues with this team. And I tried to tell you guys, and most of you guys who watch our content understand and agree with our points. Some of you don't, and that's completely fine, but I've been trying to warn you guys. These are issues that will cause us to drop games if we continue to play the style of basketball we've played predominantly this year. We're going to drop some games to bad teams if we play like this. And what do you know? We're 1-2 in the month of January with losses against the Golden State Warriors, who are playing better basketball. You know, they might be the 8th seed or a playoff team, but these issues cause us to lose at home against the Chicago Bulls. And these are the same issues we had last season. This offseason, Neil Olshey went out and got better personnel, and our defense is still in the gutter. Our defense is still a bottom 5 defense. Our offense down the stretch was increasingly stagnant. Horribly stagnant. The Blazers settled for 3 after 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 3. They missed a ton of threes down the stretch. That's all they wanted to shoot. It was just settling for jumpers. It was a bunch of isolation and stagnant offense, and the Bulls got going against our drop scheme. They started to exploit it a bit, and we didn't adjust it. We could have maybe trapped them and maybe turned up the pressure. Who knows if they would have handled it. They're a pretty young team. Zach LaVine I don't think he's the best at handling pressure. Kobe White's in his second year in the NBA, you know what I mean? Maybe you could throw out something like that. That didn't happen. I mean, there's just obvious problems that we've been saying with this team. All of them are on full display tonight. And I'm going to go off on a tangent before I get, I know Eric will probably go off on a tangent as well. This is just mine right off the bat. I'm not wasting any time with it, Eric.
Go ahead, my man.
This is just, this is all the problems we saw last year. Stagnant basketball, no ball movement, settling too much for jumpers, right? We were hot to start the game. I'm cool with shooting jumpers if guys are hot shooting them or they get going off them. But at some point, after you miss 7 in a row down the stretch and you're going up against a Chicago team that's not good at defending the rim, maybe you drive once in a while, maybe you move the ball once in a while, maybe you pass once in a while, but that didn't happen. The thing is, in a lot of these games last year, Damian Lillard went super heroic and bailed the team out of bad losses. And what do we say after those games? Man, Dame kind of saves Terry Stotts' ass a lot of times. He didn't save Terry Stotts' ass tonight. He's not playing quite as good as last year. Dame's still playing good basketball, but you've had CJ playing insane this year, right? It's basically, down the stretch, it was, hopefully one of those guys can save us. We're going to keep jacking up threes. Hopefully they hit some. Where is the coaching on this team? What is the coaching on this team? I mean, I've been on board the Fire Stotts train for a very long time, for years, right? I was one of the first people on board. And, I mean, at this point, it's grown into a very long train, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people on board this train now because they see the very obvious issues, all right? And the issues existed last year. Everybody wrote them off to personnel. We're injured. What can you expect, man? And now this year, we have upgraded personnel. Our defense isn't any better despite having better defensive personnel because, like I said, most of our issues last year were not because of personnel. I don't know how you can make that argument where our defensive issues last year were because of personnel, and then we get upgraded personnel, and then our defense is still as bad. How is that due to personnel then? This is your proof right here, right now. This is literally proving everything I said in regards to the coaching last year, right? You know, the offense was super stagnant, just settling for threes. You can't use the we missed shots excuse when you didn't try to take any other shots other than the shots you were missing. You know what I mean? You're breaking 3 after 3 after 3. Everybody's cold shooting threes. You're taking some contested threes. Some of them were open that we missed, but bro, just attack the damn rim. It's not that hard. Pass and cut is basic basketball. You're talking about a team that's not good at defending the interior. The way the Blazers played down the stretch tonight was terrible. You're talking about a 2.5 quarter stretch where you get outscored by the Chicago Bulls by 23 points. How is that excusable? We're far more talented than they were. Far, far, far more talented than they were. I mean, CJ had a decent game. Rocco had a decent game. You know, Nurkic had some moments. It's not like individuals necessarily played that bad. Like, it's just, the style of play is just awful, man, and it needs to change. This is 8 out of 11 games this year that the team has played bad basketball. 8 out of 11 games, including the preseason. This is not a good team. Everybody's talking about contention going into the season. It's not a good team right now, and I don't think it's going to change because the problems start with the coaching. It's 100% the coaching. It's 100% the style of play. And I tried giving Terry Stotts a chance going into the season, him talking about changing his defensive philosophies and stuff. He hasn't changed shit. He hasn't changed a single goddamn thing. This is exactly what we did last year. Already given up on changing the defensive philosophy 7 games into the season. I'm tired of all the excuses and all the narratives to try and make it seem like this team is in an okay spot right now, you know? Oh, well, we're 3-3, we're 500, and we played a couple tough teams, so I mean, 3-3 is fine, and oh, it's just game 6, you know, it's fine. It's like all this crap we heard at the start of last season when these problems existed and then never got fixed all season long. You had some injuries so people could change from, oh, it's just game 6 and, you know, we're 500, right? So, and then it moved on from that to, oh, well, we're just injured. What can we do? Bro, these issues are there no matter what, and they will always hold this team back. And the issue is 100% the coaching. No matter who's injured, no matter who isn't injured, it always has been the coaching. They've won some games in spite of it, but the team is moving away from Terry Stotts' coaching. They're getting better at exploiting the trap pick and roll. You have to be adjustable defensively. You can't just throw a drop scheme out there and expect it to work because teams are getting better at exploiting it, and teams are getting better at game planning for one specific defensive scheme. I mean, you see teams come in and they're just ready to play against a damn drop scheme. No adjustments whatsoever. I mean, we had a good defensive quarter. Fine, keep running it. They started to pick it apart. Change the thing up. Do some goddamn coaching. I'm tired of watching this guy literally not do his damn job and not do a thing. Bro, if you roll out the ball in an open gym to these guys, they're shooting and playing the same offense they did down the stretch during that fourth quarter. You roll the ball out in an open gym to these guys, they're playing the same defense they did pretty much this entire game. Where is the coaching? What is he doing, bro? We don't need a cheerleader who the players like to just like be all nice to them and be friends and be buddy and, you know, make them feel good about themselves. No, we need somebody that will hold players accountable and do some coaching. I didn't see anything. It's ridiculous. And I've tried to be optimistic and I've tried to give him a chance and he's already completely blown it. And I'm like, bro, he is done for me in my book. I will never give him another chance. Like, and this isn't just a one-game thing for everybody to say, oh man, one bad loss. You know, I'm sure there's people out there that will say that. I've been saying this stuff for years and I keep trying to give him a chance and he keeps proving to me he's just flat out not a good head coach. Simple. Go ahead.
Good open, Tori. I like that. All right, so let me get to some donos. RT Shaggy Squid said, we really just lost, and with Zach going 6 for 18, bum-ass Bulls. If Stotts isn't fired soon, I might stop watching games for the first time in 10 years. Vipers Football had a $1.99 donation.
Message retracted? I don't know.
Message retracted. I'm not sure what it said. And then we just had a $20 dono.
From Blazer Tay 2K, who says, it's not showing up here. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
He says, Stotts is terrible, and we are not a top 5 team. I'm so sad because I thought we looked okay the first half. I don't think Stotts will be gone until next year. I want Nurk and Derrick Jones Jr. to have a great 2-man game. And then you have Vipers Football with another $2 donation. He says, Stotts can't be Dame's only ever NBA coach. I 100% agree with that. Thank you for the donations. Appreciate it. And here's the thing. Let me respond to this real quick. The Blazer Tay 2K thing is like, yeah, we looked great in the first half, but we were hitting jumpers, right? Like, it was not like we were necessarily getting great shots. We hit our first 4 threes, and I think at least 2 of them were contested. You know what I mean? But that'll happen. We'll get hot. And they were missing wide open 3 after wide open 3 after wide open 3. We gave them like a million wide open 3s this game. They weren't hitting, right? But I was saying, we're playing with fire right now because we keep giving them open 3s. At some point, they're probably going to start hitting these because you cannot give, even a bad Bulls team, you cannot give a team that many open 3s and not expect them to start converting on some of them. And what did they do? They started converting on some of them. Our defense was not good at any point this game, this entire game. During the first quarter, they weren't really exploiting our drop scheme, so I was cool with us maybe running a little bit more, but it's not like our defense was good. They were just missing shots. It literally applies to that. They were getting wide open shots after wide open shots and missing them, but they were getting good shots, and we were allowing them to get good shots. Then they started hitting a bunch of them and caught back in the game. You know, if we were contesting their shots and they were hitting some, then it's like, okay, they're just making shots. You know what I mean? Like, we're playing good defense, we're contesting them, they're just making good shots. But no, we were giving open shots all game long. Just, it was not good defense at all this entire game. Even in the stretch that got us up to 20, we weren't doing anything special offensively, and we were not playing good defense, right? So I wasn't fooled. You know, people too often just look at the scoreboard like, oh, we're up 20, and we must be playing a good brand of basketball. No, that's not the case. You know, that's not the case. And look, it came back to bite us. And while we were up 20, I was not confident in the lead. I felt like we were playing with fire because of the way we were playing. I felt like it could easily come back and bite us in the butt. Yesterday, on Blazers Uprise Live, I said I could easily see the Portland Trail Blazers losing this game with the way they're playing, even though they're far more superior talented than the Chicago Bulls. I've been warning everybody for years about these issues. I've been, bro, I don't want to get into something where I'm just saying, bro, I'm right, but I don't know how you could say I'm wrong about any of this. I've been spot on, man, and all these people want to disagree and say I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm just too hard on Stotts, and I never give him a chance. Well, I gave him a chance, and look, I was wrong to give him a chance. There's no reason to give him a chance anymore. Like, I've been spot on all of this. I don't know what else people have to see. Maybe they change and start playing a better brand of basketball, but that wouldn't disprove anything I've said. That would be them improving. Like, I've been spot on all of this, man. And a lot of people are starting to realize just how poorly coached this team actually is, you know, and it's frustrating because we're talking about a prime Damian Lillard who's kind of having a season wasted so far this year. I hope it doesn't continue, but that's kind of what it's feeling like right now.
And just to clarify,
Yeah.
Okay, but Maurice Frenton with the €5 donation, he says, unfortunately, Stotts will prevent Dame from getting the ring. As long as he's the coach, we have no chance of winning a title. We cannot make an adjustment in the playoffs, so that's totally 100% true. Kyle Wilson says, thank God our pick is lotto protected this year. Yeah,
I don't think we'll miss the playoffs, but it's like these issues will make it so that we have no chance of contending, just like the previous donation said. Yeah.
And I think, okay, there was another one. All right, so for those that may be new to this channel, Tori and I have not liked Stotts. He has failed to devise a way to get Dame out of being double teamed and for a 4-on-3 advantage if they do double team Dame to become like an advantage for our team. And we actually run our plays into the double team and like let Dame get taken out of playoff series because he has no idea how to adjust or make that work if Dame's getting double teamed. And he has no idea what he's doing on defense. The only years we've been good at defense is because like the players on the court actually played good like defense and won some of their matchups. And that's not coaching. That's just the players on the court did their jobs. And I'm sorry for the mods tonight. Thank you guys. You probably have a lot of comments being held for review. So thank you. But this guy has gotten by on this reputation that he's some sort of offensive genius when he's got tremendous ISO players. And I mean, let's face it, when he had LaMarcus and Damian Lillard, it's not that hard to post up LaMarcus, throw the ball into the post and him hitting turnaround jump shots. It's not that hard to run a pick and roll between Dame and CJ and have like a guy like Wes who shot I think close to 40% from three when he was here. It's not that.
That's
hard
what would happen if you threw.
Offense.
Yeah, that's what would happen if you just threw like those 5 guys in the gym and just threw the ball to them. You know what I mean? This is the exact offense that we run. Like, bro, I want to see offense that is ran better than what we. Sorry, let me reword this. I want to see offense that is run better than what you'd see in an open gym without a coach.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a lot to ask for, but
I mean, like you and I could come up with some better plays just like on the fly, like in a random pickup game, right?
Yeah, I mean, like what sets were they running the fourth quarter? Everything was just like coming off a pick and roll and jacking up a 3, or coming off a pick and roll, making one pass and jacking up a 3. Like, we don't run. The only sets we run is like we'll give the ball to Nurk at the high post and sometimes get some motion off ball, but mostly it's like, okay, we're gonna 3-man weave above the arc. It doesn't even do anything. Or we'll like bring the ball up the court, pass it to somebody, they'll pass it back, then we'll skip it. And it's like all our sets are so garbage, and they've been garbage, and like bro, everybody that says Stotts is an offensive genius, I want the reasoning why. What is so genius about anything this team does? You're talking about a team that was last in the league in assists last year, last in the league in assists. What's so genius about a team that runs isolation and pick and roll? I've never had anybody actually honestly answer that question. I do not understand that. It's like, what is so genius about anything they do offensively?
And especially in the playoffs, it gets torched in the playoffs. We cannot score in the playoffs for long stretches. We get obliterated against good defensive teams. And it's been that way for years. And we don't do anything to change it up. We just go into the next playoff series thinking, oh, you know what? Maybe Dame or CJ will get hot and we'll win this series because they're good scorers. But we don't do anything to, like, negate their defense. So it's just frustrating. But, I mean, just, like, honestly, you and I were kind of ostracized by a lot of Blazer media people like Casey Holdall, Chad Dewing, Dan Marang, all these guys. Basically, like, they talked and basically called us, like, the idiots and the clowns and the people who have no clue what they're talking about. Like, yeah, you guys try coaching a game because, like, there's no way you can you would be right if you actually watch film or were in the locker room or whatever.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy who's never these media guys have never actually been in the film room. I've actually been at least in a college basketball film room. You know what I mean? I at least know what it's like to be in a film room. And honestly, a lot of things you see at the NBA is the same principles that, like, you learn in high school and college. Obviously, they're just insanely superior players and far more talented. But, like, dude, a lot of the sets I see in the NBA is like stuff that I ran in college, all right? Like, we worked tirelessly on advanced defensive rotations and situational defense and stuff like that. Stuff they do in the NBA. So whenever I hear a media guy talking about a film room that he's never been in, it's just ridiculous. And it is funny to me, man. It's like, who do you think you're talking to? As if you need to be at the NBA level to know what you're talking about. How are you going to use that when you yourself has never played against somebody who at least has played a little bit? Like, obviously, Mr. 2.2 in college, all that crap. At least I have some experience. I don't understand how media guys use playing experience or coaching experience to talk down to people with more experience than them. It's backwards. It's contradictory. It doesn't work. It's stupid. The media just, we've been beefing with media for a while, and we've been right, and they have it, and that's just the facts, man. I'll just go on the record and say it.
And so time and time again, we brought up, like, okay, so here's a play or whatever. Show me how this is a good defensive system or whatever. And they'd just be like, well, Stotts doesn't have the personnel. It was always like super, like, fluff stuff answers. It was never X's and O's stuff. It was always like, oh, well, there's injuries, there's personnel. Well, look what Stotts did with this roster. They overachieved. When I don't think that's overachieving. I don't think getting swept in the first round by the Pelicans is overachieving. I don't think getting the 3rd seed was overachieving. I think we had a talented enough roster to get that done, and maybe even have been better some of those years. Maybe even contended in that Western Conference Finals and possibly gone to the finals that year when they didn't have Durant. We were winning in most of those games playing a crappy style of basketball. So, like, if we had a well-coached team, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we could have won some of those games and possibly won that series. Same with the Pelicans series.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating. Like,
you know what's funny to me, just real quick, just since you brought up the Western Conference Finals, somehow when we have arguably the most talented Blazer in franchise history, us making a Western Conference Finals and then getting swept by a depleted Warriors team, some people act like that is a lifetime pass for anything Terry Stotts ever does.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
That team was pretty loaded. I mean, you have Seth Curry, who shot like 45% off the bench. Stotts couldn't find a way to get him more three-point shots. Like, he'd come in and hit a three and then wouldn't touch the ball for like 5 minutes. We brought in a good trade in midseason with Rodney Hood. And yeah, the Nurkic trade or injury was unfortunate that year, but, like, we didn't do anything to, like, counteract that. We still just tried to play the same way, and, like, it's just frustrating. And, like, the 4 overtime game, we we won because of Rodney Hood was only because Harkless got hurt and had to come out of the game, and Rodney Hood was forced into action, and he was sitting on the bench like, just put me in, I'll win this game, just put me in.
Yeah.
And like people retire. It's just I just don't want to hear anyone like give any of these guys a pass, because they've been I mean, it's okay if certain people say, you know what, I was wrong, it's my bad. Like I shouldn't have said that. Like we have plenty of listeners here who were just as bad as some of those media guys towards us. And then we've heard them say over the past few months, like, hey, just want to let you know, like, I started listening to what you were saying. You guys made a lot of good points, and I started seeing what you were seeing while I was watching the game, thinking about what you were seeing.
My favorite type of thing to hear.
Yeah, that's cool to hear. And I'm not like, don't get it twisted, I'm not looking for any kind of like pat on the back or anything like that. Just know that I just want everyone to know that Tori and I were on an island.
We were, yeah.
We were on a complete island by ourselves when Tori started this channel. And for years before this channel started, we said that this would continue to be an issue for years and years, as long as Terry Stotts was our coach. And we got fought against,
insulted, personally attacked, like all sorts of things. So like, yeah, we were fed up with it, you know, and now it's like, I don't know, like you can't blame us for having a little bit of a I told you so attitude towards it, because we just got for years just beat down for like stuff that's like nobody can even really argue it properly. It's all a bunch, as you said, a bunch of fluff stuff. But like, bro, like even then, if people are civil to me, I can have a civil conversation with them about it. I have an issue with this comment from Portlandia earlier. He says, I wish I could have a civil conversation with Tori. He has good intentions, but I disagree with him on a few comments. When has our conversations ever not been civil this season? When have I ever been uncivil towards you? I've defended you, and I've banned people in chat for being mean to you, and I've called people out for like attacking you personally, and I've said you're entitled to your opinion, and I disagree, and here's why. I've been nothing but civil to you. If things are going to be uncivil, it's going to be because you're saying just false stuff, like you wish you could have a civil conversation with me. That's just that's BS. Every conversation we've had this year has been civil. I have no issue with you. You can come in here and state your opinion. You're completely entitled to your opinion. That's what I've been saying. So I take issue with you saying, like, acting like you can't have a civil conversation with me, because I haven't been uncivil to you at all in here, man. The only people I act uncivil to are people that have disrespected me in the past and like and insulted me in the past. So like a Chad Doing and Aaron Fentress, you know, like Casey Holdall's always kind of been an ass to me, and he doesn't think highly of me. So, you know, I'll be feisty and toy with him on Twitter a little bit if I feel like it. You know what I mean? Like, I treat people how they treat me. You haven't, like, you've been fine in here, so I've been civil to you. I have an issue with that comment. But also, anybody that's like personally attacking him over his opinion, let's not be that place. You get all that crap on Twitter. You get all that crap on like online forums, on Reddit. You'll probably get that stuff. Let's be better than that in here. You know what I mean? I feel like people would just assume, oh, a YouTube chat by two guys that hate Stotts, it's probably toxic as hell. I don't want it to be like that here. I want it to be better than that. And like last year, I didn't do a good enough job of like promoting that. So this year I've been hard on it, and I'm just saying this now. Like, people are entitled to their opinions even if you disagree, right? I'm cool if somebody loves Stotts. Completely cool with that. If you attack me because you love Stotts and you don't like that I criticize him, and you like make it personal or attack me personally or act like I don't know what I'm talking about, then I'll take issue with that, and I might respond in kind, and I, you know, like that's just how it is. But overall, like in here, like don't insult people. You know what I mean? If somebody is insulting you or insulting somebody else, ask the mods to ban them or something. You know, that's just, I want this community to be, you know, like, we're all frustrated, we're all ranting, and we're all hot and stuff, but I don't want that level of toxicity. You know what I mean? You guys can have a basketball conversation and disagreement, but let's just make it that, nothing more. All right, that's my rant. That's the last time I'm going to talk about it. If anybody violates that, mods, you guys know what to do. Appreciate your guys' help.
Let's use each other to like help recover from these emotional experiences, not like tear each other down, I think.
Yeah,
is what you're
exactly.
So Kyle Wilson had a $5 donation. He says, question, if Dame comes out and supports Terry asks for a trade if we fire him or some other threat, what do we do? I say rebuild over keeping Stotts. So he's not going to. He'd probably be upset if we traded him, but as soon as the new coach came in and he saw like how different things could be, he would get over it really fast, just like with any time we've traded one of his friends off the team. He's obviously not going to be happy with it, but he's locked up for like 5 more years. So there's nothing he can do about it. He can't like request a trade and like have that be a logical thing that we do. But yeah, there's no reason why. That's why it always drives me crazy about the people who say, oh, the Dame and CJ thing can never work, because like we've never seen it under a different coach that could maybe use them better and like maybe bring out some of their skills a little more, or like, you know, make the players around them have a better system to help them out. So like I'd want to see another coach before I committed to a rebuild every time. And then Rip City 1977 says that you're mentioning me, LOL. I think that was in regards to the people who have seen the light after not agreeing with us at the beginning. But we welcome everyone. Like we're, I mean, people are open to their own opinion. So like, this is the thing, because people say like, well, you hate anyone who likes thoughts, and that's not true either. Like we just have a problem with people who think we're idiots or clowns because we have our opinion, instead of like debating why we both feel that way. So like if you want to break it down, you always bring up JDC, who hasn't been in here for a while, but he actually would say like, well, like I felt like he ran this different play at this different time. You guys thought that was like a similar play to what he normally runs or whatever. Like at least he has like an example, X's and O's wise, or like of what's happening on the court as to why he sees it differently. He's just not like, oh, you guys are idiots, thoughts adjust all the time, like without giving an example, which is what the people we have a problem with do. So like, I don't have any problem if you like Stotts, like Portlandia, for example. If you want to still believe in Stotts, that's fine. Just don't tell us like we're idiots because we don't like him, because like we actually say and break down and go over countless hours as to why he is not a good coach. So like we're not just like saying it to say it. Like half of Twitter is just like fire Stotts without any kind of explanation just because we lost. We've been saying it and breaking it down. Even in games where we played well, seasons where we've been the 3rd seed, stuff like that, we've explained why when it comes to crunch time in the playoffs, Stotts will not get the job done as a coach to put the players in the best position. And it's coming to fruition a lot earlier than it should have this year. But just know that we don't hate anyone who has a differing opinion. So feel free to like Stotts still. That's totally fine. Like just don't like criticize anyone just because of their opinion. Try to have a discussion about that opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to, like, I kind of used to be that way a few years ago, you know, when I was younger and whatnot, and I've, like, worked to try not to be that way, you know what I mean? And it's, like, yeah, it's something that, you know, I try to be better than. Like, let's just make this an inclusive space for people with their opinions. So, yeah. Welcome to membership, Michael Class. I will have a video in a couple days, like, you know, updated some perks and whatnot. So I will go over, like, specifics in regard to channel memberships. But I appreciate you becoming a member, and I appreciate your support. Also, thank you to Rip Cities 1977 for that $10 donation. Thank you to Ball Don't Lie Podcast for the $10 donation. He says, been watching y'all for a while. You guys are the realest in the media for Blazers basketball. Fire Stotts train is getting attention. Yeah, man, I mean, we always just try and call it like it is. Like, because I had thoughts at some points last year when we were getting a ton of heat for being critical of the coaching. It's like, man, if we were just super supportive of Stotts, would our channel be bigger? You know what I mean? Like, not that I'd consider ever doing that, but I did have those thoughts. Like, oh, maybe if we were just, like, love Stotts, maybe we would get more people in here. You know what I mean? Like, because I assume people that love Stotts probably don't like watching us. So I've always kind of wondered about that. Would never consider doing that because that's what the media is for. You know what I mean? The media gives you all the fluff stuff. The media gives you, like, all the kind of garbage and whatnot, and they don't give you like true legitimate breakdown of stuff. You know, this hasn't really been much breakdown this post-game show, but pretty much every other one we try and go in depth and break things down. It's kind of hard without film and highlights that we're able to use, but we try our best given the resources and the abilities that we have on this channel. You know, one of the main reasons I started this thing was because I was tired of the media and all the fluff stuff, and I wanted to provide people with an alternative to that. If you like that stuff more, like I know other people probably like that stuff more, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? Like people want different things in a post-game show, you know? So some people might like that more than our stuff. That'll happen. Like, I'm cool with that. It's whatever. You know, I hope as many people possible like what we do. It means a lot to me, and all the support that we do get, it honestly does mean a lot, because, you know, there will be a lot of hate with this stuff too, and how opinionated we are. So everybody showing us support, it genuinely uplifts me personally. But yeah, so I've always just tried to stick to what I know, educate myself about the game, and then break things down based off of that. And based off of that, I think Stotts is not a good coach. Shout out Rip City 1977 for another $10 donation. He says, I hope Neil doesn't wait till the end of the season to fire Stotts. Dame and CJ aren't getting any younger. I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about this a lot. So this is why for those who watched last season, Torian said this too. After every game that we lost, you know, we get the fire Stotts crew, and we said, guys, stop talking about firing Stotts. He's not going to get fired. There's zero chance he gets fired last year.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is Jody is a relatively new owner. She had been an owner for one season because Paul died right before the season that had just concluded. And so after that first season with her as the owner, Olshey went to her, got an extension for himself, got an extension for Stotts, got an extension for CJ, got an extension for Dame. So a few months later, he's not going to go to Jody and be like, oh, you know that money you just let me pay all that money to Stotts for? Can we fire him and hire someone else for like more money? That wasn't going to happen. And that's also because she's letting the basketball guys do their thing. So she's letting Anil Olshey run the basketball team and make all the decisions, and he still has to clear it with her. But from everything Olshey has said, she's been very supportive and willing to just basically do what he thinks is best for the team, which is fine. I'd probably rather have that than an owner that's super meddling and won't let their GM make trades or trade draft picks or whatever. And you've seen in the years since Olshey has been free to do that, he has made a lot more moves than he had the previous couple years before that, especially with the move like getting Rocco for draft picks. Mm-hmm. But the problem now is, does he have the guts to go into that office and say, look, I know Stotts still has 1.5 years left on his extension, but he's just not getting the job done. Is he secure enough in his position with Jody to go into that room and make that necessary thing? And until he gets the guts to do that, I don't think Stotts is going to get fired. But if we keep having games like this and there keeps on being social media blowups, and I know that's like a minority. I want to touch on that.
I want to touch on the social media stuff in a sec.
But like until that happens, I find it hard to believe that Jody would like bring that conversation to him. I mean, I would like that if she did show some initiative and be like, "Hey, Neil, so what is our coach doing? Like, I mean, I'm not really good at watching basketball, but it seems to me like he's not doing a very good job. Like, what do you think about that?" That would be great if then she opened that conversation so he didn't have to start the dialogue. But I don't know if I see that happening either. But the other thing is, we don't know the situation financially. Like, this might be a non-starter with Jody. She might just say, like, look, you signed him to an extension. I can't afford to fire and pay him for not coaching the team right now. I hope that's not the case. I'm just saying there's a chance that might.
Here's the thing, and I'm not like too happy about like this being the thing, but most likely if they fire him, an assistant coach becomes the head coach. Does she really shell out more money this season if assistant coach becomes the head coach? You know, say it's Nate Tibbetts or whoever. He's already like being paid. You know, I don't think he gets a pay raise with that necessarily, does he? So it might not cost him money this year. You know, the last year of his deal, if he's, you know, being paid, like, then obviously. But it's not you make more money for going further in the playoffs, correct? And next year, assuming fans are better in the stands, if the team is better, you'll make more from ticket sales. So if the team is better, if you fire Stotts, and he gets replaced with an assistant this year and maybe a new coach next year. It could possibly help him make more money. You don't have to pay him any more money this year. I don't think the money thing is necessarily a big deal. They wanted to stay out of the tax this year, not because they necessarily were like scared to pay it a little bit extra, but because they didn't want to deal with repeater tax. They didn't want to deal with the very harsh repeater tax penalties, which would have likely come into play in future seasons if they were in the tax this year. So that's why they avoided the tax, and they put together a very, very solid roster while avoiding the tax. It's not like they didn't do the front office didn't put together a good team to duck the tax. They still put together a competitive team, but the problem is the team is underachieving mightily because of the coach. So in that situation, like I think it's possible, man. And you have social media blowing up right now. Stotts is trending, I think, under the sports tab. I don't know if it's under the main trending tab. I want to see if it's like under here now. You got a lot of people that are unhappy with the type of basketball the Blazers have been playing. It's actually trending under, I mean, maybe it's just because this is what I tweet about. Maybe it's just for me, but I see it trending under the trending tab on Twitter. It is legitimately trending. You had Kendrick Perkins. Let me find the tweets here. Let me go to it. You had Kendrick Perkins. I got it. You have Kendrick Perkins saying Terry Stotts needs to be on the hot seat this season. He's had too many opportunities. Carry on. You had Kevin O'Connor, who we agreed with at the start of the season, but he's on point with this. He says, brutal loss for the Blazers. Blew a 20-point lead to the Bulls. Maybe the most stagnant offense I've seen all season. ISO after ISO. What was Stotts doing? Portland now has the NBA's 29th ranked defensive rating. Nurk gotta be better. Playing Melo and Cantor together is a bad idea. Like, yeah, what is Stotts doing? Like, just, I mean, and then you have a bunch of people just tweeting out, including some, like, there's like a couple YouTubers I've seen tweet out about the Blazers needing to let Terry Stotts go, like bigger YouTubes talking about like Rusty Buckets. I don't know if any of you know him. But yeah, so you got a lot of people wanting it.
Yeah, shout out to Luke Lindikoff for the $5 donation. He had a message retracted again second time tonight.
That's weird. I've never seen that
Deshaun
before.
Paul also with
we can't retract messages, right? Mods, did you retract a message? I don't know.
No, it showed up without a message, and then later on it said retracted.
I think if people leave donations without a message, that's what it says. So appreciate the donation, though, man. Means a lot. Shout out to Sean Paul, $5 donation. He said that I was watching this game. My first thought was Torrey called it fire Stotts at this point. He is just a fan watching the game. Thank you for the donation. I don't know 100% what you mean by that, but
I think he's saying like, well, you're calling how bad Terry Stotts is, just being like a fan with a YouTube channel. Like, why can't the people who actually make basketball decisions do that? I'm assuming that's what he's saying.
Yeah. Stotts' interview is out. Do you guys want to watch it? Since that is pretty much the topic for this post game show.
Ball Don't Lie podcast was the $2.99.
Yeah, appreciate the donation, man. Type yes in chat if you want us to watch it. Type no in chat if you don't want us. I know. I just want to see how many people really want to watch it. Type in chat if
Luke Lindikoff with another $3 donation. Promote Dale Osborne and bring in Earl Watson. So a lot of people are asking about this. We can fire and hire whoever we want during the season. There's no rules on whether you have to promote an assistant coach or if you can bring in an outside coach or whatever. Yeah, there's like 8 million yeses. But yeah, so we could, most likely what would happen is Stotts would get fired. They promote Nate Tibbetts to head coach, and we'd probably finish out the season with him as the interim coach. That's not what I want to happen if we fire him. I would hope that we got a jump on it, had some targets locked up, and like brought someone in while we still had a chance. I mean, I doubt that would happen this season, but that would be my number one thing, is just bring in someone who could like maybe give a few months to prove that he can maybe handle this team. And if he's not good, then you could just look elsewhere after the season or whatever. Yeah, I don't. So before we get to the interview, let me just say one thing. So before the season, we heard, I think it was Stotts, it might have been Olshey, say that the seasons that we've struggled to make the playoffs and gotten the 8th seed, we've gotten off to bad starts, right? And then we hear our coach, after losing a game we should have won in Golden State, say, oh, it's all good. We were 2-2 on this road trip. That's great. Going 500 on the road, right? Oh yeah, like what we lost the last game of a trip that we would have liked to go on 3-1, but there's nothing wrong with being 3-3, right? Like no, you guys were saying before the season started you couldn't do this crap in the beginning of the year, and now you lose a game you should have won tonight, and all of a sudden you're below 500 7 games in. This is the same thing that happened last season. We were 3-2, and then we lost a bunch of games, but before we knew it, we're like 10, 11 games below 500, and we're fighting to make the playoffs the entire season. So this is the attitude I don't want out of my coach. And then to go back to the Dwight James interview or question about blitzing, it's like, instead of saying, like, you know what, I'm trying to get them to blitz more. I'm trying to do it. It's just going to take some time. Like, I really do want to blitz more picks. I really do want to double team more. I do want to do these things. We just haven't had enough practice time. Like, if that's what he says when he says haven't had enough practice time, like, I don't like having the big drop that much against Steph Curry. Obviously, that's not a good strategy for that. But instead, he tries to say, "Oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. I did do that. Oh, I am coaching this team. I am blitzing him. We threw everything at him."
When it was obvious it didn't.
Like, how old is Dwight James? Like 70 years old? Like, he freaking posted a video after Twitter just completely exposing Stotts after the game. Like,
all of Steph Curry's points.
Here's every single one of Steph Curry's points. Please tell me where you blitzed him. Please tell me, Stotts. Like, what did you do to stop him? You didn't do anything. If that guy can show a video in 5 seconds after that interview with him, like, there's no way that Stotts is a good coach. Like, he is completely exposed. He is a crap coach. He was probably fine as an assistant coach where all he had to worry about was the offense, and he had one of the best scorers of all time with Dirk Nowitzki. He now has one of the best scorers of all time in Damian Lillard, and he can't do anything other than give that guy the ball and hope he saves them every time. And it's just ridiculous. So, and then, that feeds off to the team. Then you hear CJ say, "Oh, well, we lost this game. We're 2-2, but we'll take it at this point. Like, we had a tough 6-game stretch to begin the year. Like, 3-3 is great." Like, that's not good. That's not good enough. If you want to be a good team, you have to be better than this. And you can't be 3-4 after 7 games. And you can't drop games to the Bulls at home after you just talked all this crap about how, oh, we've had a tough schedule. Oh, we did well on the road. Once we go home, we'll be fine. It'll all be better. That's the kind of loser mentality that gets you stuck in these situations when you're 3-4 instead of having a killer mentality. Dude, I just listened to this interview with Damian Lillard before the season that I somehow missed. Get this, story.
What?
I haven't even talked to you about this. Before this season, Damian Lillard said, "You know what? Oh, the first 8 years of my career, I've never really held myself accountable or been held accountable on the defensive end. I think I need to. This year, I'm going to make sure I'm accountable on that end." Are you kidding me? 8 years into the freaking league, you haven't been accountable once? Like, you're just talking about it now? Like, what about before? What about before? When you're in the Western Conference Finals, your coach isn't holding you accountable for defense? Like, are you kidding me? CJ said the same freaking thing.
I mean, and you're seeing it on the floor right now. This team is not accountable defensively. I missed that too. You're going to have to tweet that out. I'm going to need that clip, man. Like, because that's absolutely ridiculous. Talk about the anti-pop. My goodness, man. How do you not hold your players accountable? I mean, and we've said it, bruh, and people have argued with us. Like, y'all know it's happening behind closed doors. And we've been saying, bro, he doesn't hold players accountable enough. He doesn't hold players accountable for defense. I 1000% believe that is the case with what, and now Damian Lillard's saying it. Like, yeah, I mean, this team, these guys have never been held accountable on the defensive end. These defenders have never. Oh, but Nurk, he can yell at Nurk, he can lay into Nurk, but nah, Dame and CJ get an automatic free pass because they shoot threes well and get 20 a game. That's BS, man. You have to hold your stars accountable on both sides of the ball. Just because it's the leader on your team doesn't mean you can't hold them accountable. Like, Greg Popovich is the best coach in the NBA, right? They actually beat the Clippers tonight, didn't they? They actually have been playing solid basketball with a far inferior roster than ours, but I think they're 4-3 right now, and they have played some tough teams too. Barely lost to the Lakers, right? He is the best coach in the league. He holds his stars as accountable as everybody because your stars are the people that are the most visible people on the team. They're the leader of the team. If you don't hold them accountable and then hold other guys accountable, it's not going to work. You cannot effectively do that. And it's like, bruh, you gotta hold like CJ not being held accountable for 6. Accountability doesn't even mean like you gotta do better. It doesn't even mean laying into them. It means like watching some damn film and pointing out the mistakes and holding them accountable and helping them improve. But we haven't those guys have not improved. And then you have Dame saying in 8 years he's never been held accountable. Even as a rookie, he wasn't held accountable as like a rookie even when he was his first year in the NBA. Bro, no wonder everybody loves Stotts as players. It's just a free ride. It's easy. It's fun. You can do whatever you want. Don't be held accountable. Bruh, that is not going to work if you're going to contend, right? That is not going, like, this team will never truly contend with Terry Stotts as a coach. And that's just more proof to it. That's just another thing to throw onto that pile. It's ridiculous. Let me thank donations. Ryan Adams, $10 donation. Appreciate it, man. He says, been a while since I watched y'all. Yep, same Stotts coaching New Year. Ugh. I'm sure it's just favoritism at this point. Yeah, it's very, very frustrating, man. Appreciate the $10 donation. Shout out Bozo Stotts, a.k.a. Westbrook. Finally changed his name. He says, yes, Eric Slay. $2 donation. Appreciate it. And then Blazer Take 2K, $5 donation. He says, would you be down to have a player coach like a Nash? I know Steve Blake is now an assistant coach. I'm not even thinking about like other candidates at this point. Stotts just needs to go. If Stotts gets fired, then I'll start like looking at other candidates. But at this point, like we just need someone. Anyone, bro. I would take Eric Brandt. I would be happy if Eric Brandt got hired as the damn coach. And Eric is, yeah, I know. And I know you don't want it, but like if they like forced you to coach the team, I'd be happy. Maybe not for you. I know you don't, you're not an NBA coach or anything, bro. I don't care. I'd rather have, like, bro, I feel like you could not have a coach and this team wouldn't look any different at this point. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just increasingly frustrating. It looks like a terribly coached team every time we play. And we're still in this game because we have solid talent. We have a really good roster, in my opinion. I think you put a really good coach with this roster and we could contend. Everybody loved the upgrades this offseason, Nobody can blame Olshey anymore. It's obviously Stotts.
And so if the Spurs lost to the Bulls right at home with this roster, do you think Stott or like Pop would be after the game like, oh, like we just didn't make shots? He would be mad, and that's why he's like a red ass to people in media because like he doesn't want to answer these questions because he's just as pissed off as like us fans are, like. And that's one thing. Like, I don't see that fire. Like, where's that attitude with how defensive you getting asked a pointed, like, reasonable question about your scheme or your game plan in a game? Where is that defensiveness on the court? Like, why don't you show that same defensiveness you get in press conferences? Like, impart that onto your team because then you'd have the greatest defensive team of all time if you could somehow bottle that up and become as defensive as a team as you are in press conferences.
Yeah, and dude, it's just like it's funny because I just glanced at Twitter and you got a freaking Aaron Fentress tweet. Good old Aaron. Why do you yell when you dunk, Fentress? What do you want to say?
I gotta say something because this is what I was going to mention next. He had this tweet yesterday like. You got like I keep asking for who's better as a replacement. Okay, that's called enabling, dude. Like you like when you have like an alcoholic, you don't be like, oh no, it's okay to drink. He likes drinking. He keeps like he it's okay because he drinks. That's it. Like you do something about it. Like, you shouldn't give someone an excuse just because you don't have someone better. Like, if your girlfriend's cheating on you, you don't think you'd ever find another girl. Like, that doesn't mean you should stay with her because she's, like, out, like, having sex with a bunch of other dudes. Like, it doesn't make sense, dude. Like, if the guy's doing a terrible job, it's doing a terrible job. You don't have to come up with a better replacement in order to replace him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, bro, we need to clip that because that's a perfect example. Like, yes.
It's crazy. Like, I can list like 20 names for you. I'll list 8,000 names if you want me to. I have no bearing on who they're going to hire. So what the heck does it matter if I give you a list of 58 million names? I'll name every person on this freaking planet that's a better coach than Stotts, and I'll get to 58 million. And yeah, like, it's stupid. No, but he's one of the 30 best coaches he has an NBA job for a reason, because he's one of the 30 jobs, the best 30 jobs as a coach you can get. So obviously he's one of the best 30 coaches in the league.
Hey,
right?
man.
And don't say anything. Oh, Eric, you would get killed in a film room with him. Oh, really? How come Stotts can't answer one single question about film breakdown then? He just has to get defensive and say, oh, I did do that or whatever. And
Hey, Eric, Eric, you gotta have a replacement ready if you're gonna break up with your girlfriend, man. Like, obviously, like, if you get, like, you know, you have to have a replacement ready. It's, it's funny. What if like your wife tuned in right when I said that? She would have been like, what? But yeah, no, just, I mean, I hate that whole point. Like, I know what I want in a coach. Bro, nobody heard of Nick Nurse before they hired him. Everybody knew Dwayne Casey. He was coach of the year, and they fired him. Oh, they fired the coach of the year, and then they hire Nick Nurse, who's a great coach and won a championship. Like, bro, that whole narrative is just ridiculous, man. And I've tossed out names before, like guys that I actually like Troy Messina. I've watched hours of like coaching clinics from him and like stuff that he teaches. So like, I've tried to educate myself on other candidates. These guys wouldn't take the time to do that. They don't try to educate themselves about the game, let alone a specific coach somewhere, right? But we're the idiots who couldn't hang in a film room, even though we're the only ones who cover the team who has been in a damn film room. Yeah, it's comical at this point. But he tweeted out, he said, Utah loss, Clippers loss, great team. Curry loss, he went nuts. Bulls loss, hideous. Trailblazers fall to 3-4 in the season after 111 to 108 defeat at home. Now it's time to be worried. That was ugly. And I said, I tried to tell you Stotts was the problem and these excuses didn't work, but you don't listen. He insulted me instead and was just downright disrespectful to me. So screw him. That's why I don't like media, because that's how it's been. If they want to apologize and say, you know what, we were wrong, then I won't give them crap. But until then, I'm going to give them as much crap as I want.
You know what's funny? He actually, we clipped a film of one of our breakdowns after one of the Laker games, I think, or it was one of the games of the bubble. Showed it to him of what we were talking about. He was like, "Oh yeah, I can see your points. Like, yeah, good point. But you guys are idiots." Like,
yeah,
and couldn't defend his like why we were wrong, but we're still idiots, you know, whatever. Kyle Wilson with the $2 donation. He says, "What's a girlfriend, Tori?" Oh.
I mean,
Wilson's down bad right now.
I mean, like, I've read about them, so I, like, kind of know what they are just from, like, I've read books, you know. It's basically a girl that you have positive feelings for, and therefore, you know, she has to have positive feelings for you, too. That's pretty much the tough part for most guys, you know, is liking someone who likes you back, right? But then if you both like each other, then you can, like, associate as, like, a partnership. You know what I mean? But then if she starts, you know, if she starts dropping the big on the pick and roll all the time and she can't get her team moving the ball, you fire her ass. So.
Oh, and then let me just address one thing. So Blockboy said earlier that that's a Dame and CJ problem if they're not being or holding themselves accountable, whatever. While I do agree with you, I mean, we have heard guys like Gary Trent Jr., you know, at first when he broke out said, oh, I've just took it upon myself to practice really hard, to get in the gym, to watch film and do all this stuff. He didn't say anything about the coaches. Later, he was kind of like, oh, yeah, this coaching staff's great. But it wasn't like until months later that he said that. But
and then he gets benched, plays 6 minutes, then pops off the next game. And in his post-game interview, he just looks absolutely pissed off after they beat the Lakers. Like, I think there's some people on this team that don't like the coaching staff, believe it or not, that don't want a player's coach.
I saw that, Westbrook. But anyways, so that goes back to my point about Popovich. So he went and talked to Tim Duncan and said, look, I have to be able to treat you just like everyone else on this team. Like, and so he would lay into Tim Duncan in practice. And Tim Duncan was like, it said how that made him better because he wasn't better than anyone else on the team. He still had to do his job. And if he fell apart, the team fell apart, right? Or if he missed a defensive assignment, that meant he was on the he let his team down. Whether he's scored like 800 points or not, like he still could have cost the team a game if he misses a defensive assignment, right? So like the fact that like we haven't heard anything like that from Stotts, like we heard one time he like got mad in a halftime locker room and threw some stuff, and like it was such a big deal that he actually showed some emotion or something, you know, like but like it just, people like that need to, they don't see it like that. They have to have a coach, because he thinks this coach is like perfect and the best coach he's ever had, because it's the only coach he's ever had in the NBA at least. Yeah. And like, I mean, he played at Weber State, so he didn't probably get the best coaching there. And so like, to him, Stotts is probably the best coach or whatever, but like he needs to know what it's like to be held accountable truly, and be like, because honestly, there were several times in the second half of this game where he just left his guy in the corner and he ended up getting a wide open three, and he fell asleep, and they should be watching film and saying like, damn dude, you might have cost us the game by like giving up these threes or whatever. But like, it's just stuff like that until everyone's held accountable equally. And let me just point this out too. We have lineups. We have Gary Trent Jr. We have Derrick Jones Jr. We have Robert Covington, all good defenders. At the end of the game, we need a stop. And who was in the game? Dame and CJ when we had a timeout. Why? Why don't we put our best 5 defenders in the game for that possession, get a stop, and then call timeout? We were calling timeout anyway. What does it matter? We can make a substitution after the timeout. So you put in your defensive lineup. But no, instead we have guys who are not good defenders in the game. And I don't understand why we wouldn't have a defensive lineup in those situations.
Yep. I'm just on Twitter. You have Suns fans saying, everyone help out Blazers fans, and then a bunch of Virus Stotts hashtags. Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's watch the interview. I was going to say something. Oh, Portlandia said earlier, I just wanted to talk about this real quick. He said, our schedule in the next 10 games is easy, Tori and Eric. Well, this game was supposed to be easy, Portlandia, and we blew a 20-point lead. So, yeah, we are not right where we want to be, or right where we need to be if our style of play is causing us to lose these easy games. We need to be better than this. I don't know how anybody could disagree with that, but yeah. If Stotts got fired, how would you feel if we were even worse? Would set this back at his team at least 5 years back, bro. I guarantee you, if you like removed, if you remove Stotts from this team wouldn't be any worse, like without a coach. This team is playing basketball that you could play without a coach, in my opinion. So, did you wake up your wife?
She said no, but
well, tell her we all apologize, and I apologize, and blame it on Stotts. Okay, that's Stotts' fault.
It's Stotts' fault.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. Let's watch this. Let's watch this interview. This will be fun. Let's. Okay, there's a baby commercial. I'm not going to show that because you're not supposed to show kids on YouTube unless you tag it as kids or something. So don't want this ad to play on the screen. YouTube is weird, man. Y'all don't even know the ins and outs of like YouTube rules and whatnot. Here we go. We got Terrence Stotts for all you guys. Let's listen to this. Let's see what he says.
Make every guy's offense down the stretch seem like you got a little 3 happy there.
I loved our shots. I thought Dame and CJ.
I mean, bro, here's the thing. If you're missing threes, stop shooting threes. But here's the problem. They could be 0 for 100 and cold as hell from threes, and Stotts would still love threes. You know, Stotts just loves those threes, man.
Great looks. Rocco had some good threes.
Just missed some shots.
We wanted to shoot more threes this year, and we went 3 for 16 from 3.
Wait, I love how he said he wants to shoot more threes this year. Well, we also wanted to do different things defensively this year, right? That's what you said. We also wanted to get out and transition more, and we haven't done that. So what's happened to all that? Oh, but of course, we wanted to shoot more threes this year, as if we didn't shoot enough in the past. Oh, my goodness,
3 in the fourth quarter. You know, that's, you got to live with that. I mean, as long as they're good threes, which I thought most of them were, I'm fine with them.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't terrible, but you're not hitting them, so drive.
You guys for so long have been a great pick and roll team, particularly with Dame and Nurk. Do you feel like you're utilizing that enough?
I don't know how many pick and rolls we had with Dame and Nurk, but yeah, we had a bunch of them. So 77s. Double drags.
That question was like a trick question. I feel like, who asked that? Applause to whoever asked that question. Was it Casey? Bro, do you guys feel like you've utilized enough pick and roll? That's all they do. And of course, it got
quick, I think.
Bro, okay, I like quick a lot. I like quick a lot. That was a trick question, I feel like, because that's all we run. And then you got stopped saying, yeah, I think we used a bunch. Like, yeah, that's all you do. Oh my goodness.
You guys for so long have been a great
I love
pick and
this
roll
question
team,
so
particularly
much.
with Dame and Nurk. Do you feel like you're utilizing that enough?
I don't know how many pick and rolls we had with Dame and Nurk, but yeah, we had a bunch of them. So 77s. Double drags. But yeah, Nurk's involved in a lot of actions. You know, some of it are handoffs, which to me are very similar to pick and rolls because they can't really get over. They have to get over or under. So utilizing him in handoffs and pick and rolls are to me very similar.
Cool.
Make no mistake though. We didn't shoot the ball well in the fourth quarter, and
Oh really? We were mistaken. Thanks for pointing that out. Make no mistake, we missed shots. Yeah, we saw.
But we lost this in the second half with Chicago outplayed us. They played harder than us. We let down our guard. We gave up 66 points in the second half after having an outstanding first half defensively. Chicago played harder, and they got life. They got confidence. They made shots, and we got a little tight and missed our shots.
They made shots. We got tight. We missed our shots, guys. That's all it is. Oh shit.
AJ McCord with coin.
I can't.
So you said Chicago came out just a little bit more intense in the second half. That was something that both Dame and Ennis talked about with the Warriors as well earlier this week, is just that they came out with more intensity in the second game. Is that something you can coach, or how do you get better at coming out more intense than you need?
Well, I loved our demeanor in the first half. I mean, we came out, we dominated the first half. We dominated each quarter. So I was really pleased with the way we played in the first half and how we came out in our approach to the game. I was very disappointed with our third quarter, and then the fourth quarter came down to shot making, which we didn't make.
That's literally what you just said. You did not answer the question at all. Yeah, pause it.
So, okay. How many third quarters? Wasn't that a theme last year?
Yeah, it was.
Wasn't that a theme? Every game in the bubble, it was like, oh, great, how are we going to blow this lead this quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not just this year. It's not just this year. What are we doing?
Different roster.
Stats?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are we doing? Why would a Chicago Bulls team come out and outplay you in a second half of a game that you have to win to not go below 500 when you know how important these games are? Why aren't we locked in and focused? That's coaching, man. So
I love how he didn't answer that. That was funny.
That we dominated the first half, really? We dominated by getting the 20-point lead. We didn't really play that great a defense. They just missed a lot of shots.
I mean, you can use your
argument against him or his argument against him. But
hey, he never
in the second quarter.
Yeah, he never applies it that way though. You notice that whenever we're cold, guys, we just miss shots. Whenever it's like the other team missing wide open shots, it's like, man, our defense was so good. Like, I'm so tired of it. It's so like disingenuous. His answers are so BS. Like, bro, he's full of crap.
And like the second quarter, we were not good. We're like, especially the beginning of the second quarter, the first like 6 minutes when we had our second unit in, it was all 1-on-1 and ISO and no ball movement and stuff like that. And they chipped way in. I think they cut it to like 6 or 7 at one point. Off a 20-point lead before halftime. This all happened before halftime, Coach Stotts. It wasn't all just the second half.
Yeah. Yeah. Yikes.
Oh, so we got outscored 24-15 in the second quarter. We only scored 15 points in that quarter. That's right, because we had 39 in the first quarter. So how does getting dominated 24-15, like Ball Don't Lie, his $5 donation says? Thanks, man. He says,
I'm going to tweet that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the donation. That's a great.
Ball Don't Lie.
Yeah.
Because he's on Twitter too, so you might want to tweet that out.
All right, I'll tag him. Ball Don't Lie. Ball Don't Lie. Wait, what's your at? What's your at? Ball Don't Lie. Let me know so I can tag you. But yeah, I mean, like, how's he gonna sit here saying we dominated the second quarter or dominated the first half when we got outscored like that in the second quarter?
15 points. Yes.
So I mean, yeah, I don't know how he can say that. Let me try and multitask and talk so it's not silent and tweet this out. But also, yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at TorJonesYT. Eric is at HoopsShock. The channel is at Blazers Uprise YT. We want to start tweeting from the channel page more in the future. Right now, we just kind of tweet when we go live and drop stuff. So,
we might want to continue this interview.
Does it get good? Does it get better?
I don't know.
Or worse?
Dwight James just tweeted, Coach Terry Stotts takes a rare shot as his players' effort after blowing a 20-point lead.
So Stotts blames the players, man. Where's the accountability for Stotts? Is he ever going to take any accountability for anything? Like, we did not lose that game just because of effort. I don't think the effort was that bad. It was, bro, I'm honestly more pissed off now because I don't think that was the problem. I don't think it was an effort thing at all.
But so, Tori, what did you say before we went on air? How many, out of the last 11 games, how many games have we not shown, how many games have we got blown out in, or including preseason?
A lot.
Yeah, it was at least 7 blowouts, and then we lose this one, which was a close game, but it was against a bad team, so it should have been.
That's also missing guys.
Basically, like getting blown out. Yeah, so like 8 out of 11 games we played or looked horrible. Like, that's not on the players. That's on the coaching staff not getting this team prepared.
Yep. All right. So let's move on in this.
Yeah. He said he just followed you at Ball Don't Lie _.
Got you. I tweeted
Terry,
it
it seemed at times that you were trying to get the ball to Nurk more often at the post. Obviously, did have a little bit of an advantage down there, it seemed, at times anyway. Was there a conscious effort tonight to try and get him going a little bit?
I think Dame in particular, but also Dame and CJ try to get him going, especially early. I think Dame has a really good feel for the game, and so I think early on that was he was getting a lot of opportunities. Yeah, but it wasn't necessarily part of my game plan. But like I said, I think Dame and CJ do a good job of trying to keep him involved.
Jason Quick, The Athletic.
Coach, I think in your 8 years here, I can count on maybe one hand how many times you said another team has worked harder than you guys. Can you pinpoint why and just how frustrating is that?
Well, it is frustrating. And, this is a game that we should have won. And Chicago deserved it because they kept playing. They played harder. And but don't cut me short. This is my 9th year. So
oh, shut up. Oh, shut the hell up. Oh, my God, I don't like this guy. Did you hear that, Eric?
Yeah.
Shut the hell... Oh, my God, man. I don't... Bruh. Who cares? Like, shut up. Dude, like, really? You're gonna be offended by that? And really... Oh, my God, man. This is my 9th year. Don't cut me short. Bro, he knows he's on the hot seat or something. Holy, he's on the edge. My goodness. Like, dude. this is his 9th season. He's been here for 8 full seasons. So, the very start of his 9th season, don't say he's only been here for 8. He's been here for like a little bit of a 9th year. So make sure you say 9, guys.
Pinpoint why and just how.
And, this is a game that we should have won, and Chicago deserved it because they kept playing, they played harder. And but don't cut me short. This is my 9th year, so
hopefully there's not a 10th.
Well, yeah, in 8 total years though.
Yeah.
No,
Just
it's
kidding. Yeah,
look,
okay.
this is a game that we showed in the first half how we're supposed to play, and we didn't play. We didn't play the way we needed to play the entire game last year, and I don't like to harp on last year because a lot of players is 2 different teams, but we had a tendency to let up last year in the 3rd quarter, and we did it again. And it's I was hoping that we'd turn the corner with that.
Are you gonna have to start giving more fiery halftime speeches, or what? What's the remedy to that?
No, fiery halftime speeches don't work. It's
well, obviously what you're doing at halftime doesn't work, so yeah, maybe you should change it up. I don't know, because what you're doing the past year and change hasn't worked at halftime because this team consistently comes out in the 3rd quarter, not playing well, and if you're chalking it up to effort, like, yeah,
it's got to come from within.
Okay.
AJ McCord with coin.
So, Coach, you keep referencing the 3rd quarter as being the problem, and I'm not questioning you on that. I'm asking for a little bit of clarity because the 2nd quarter, it looks like, is when you guys were outscored more significantly.
Ooh.
So what was it about the 3rd quarter to you that was so alarming?
We gave up 36 points. The 2nd quarter.
Hey, AJ McCord bringing that heat. Right, that was AJ, or was that Jamie Hudson? I just want to re-listen to this. I was kind of starting to.
That was
zone out.
AJ McCord.
AJ McCord bringing that heat. I'm gonna replay it. She asked a couple good questions, so applause to her.
Fiery halftime speeches don't work.
Yeah,
it's got to come from with.
AJ McCord with coin.
AJ McCord bringing that heat, man.
So, Coach, you keep referencing the 3rd quarter as being the problem, and I'm not questioning you on that. I'm asking for a little bit of clarity because the 2nd quarter, it looks like, is when you guys were outscored more significantly. So what was it about the 3rd quarter to you that was so alarming?
We gave up 36 points. The 2nd quarter, we scored 15. So, I think we had a stretch of 10 possessions that we didn't score. So that happens, but still.
And why? That happens,
Chicago
man.
only scored
happens.
24 in the 2nd quarter. So I think we were still trying. It just, we had a couple of offensive fouls during that stretch. Anyway, it was a stretch where we weren't scoring, but I thought our effort was really good in fighting through that.
Alrighty. Well, that was the interview. We gotta get rid of the ads and stuff. I just want to see how many views it has. It has 409. It has 300 on if you count this stream. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, just typical Stotts post-game conference. You're back on the screen, by the way, Eric.
Yeah, I know. I just there was a brief thing while I unmuted you and muted the thing, so I didn't hear what you said.
Just a typical Terry Stotts press conference.
Yep.
Nothing, and just a bunch of crap.
Honestly, maybe chat can correct me on this. Has there been a time where he was like, I just didn't coach well enough tonight, or this is on me, I need to do better, our defense just didn't get it done tonight, I need to figure out a way to stop them? I hear other coaches say that a lot, take accountability for themselves. So yeah, if the coach is never going to take accountability for his crappy coaching, there's no way he's going to hold anyone other than people he knows he can control. And that's one thing, he knows he can get away with yelling at Nurk. But if Dame or CJ starts to turn on him, it's over for him, because that's the only reason why he's been the coach of the Blazers for going on 9 years now, is because he's got Dame and CJ in their corner. So he's playing this slippery slope of I can't criticize them, or I can't do things that I need to do. But why would you not fall on the sword if you're in his position then? And what? Because that's not. Because then Dame and CJ would probably come out and defend him, right? If he was like, "This is on me, it was bad coaching," then Dame and CJ would be the ones saying, "No, it's not on coach. We didn't make our threes. Like, we got a couple of good looks, and we need to knock those down or whatever." Like, I think those guys would stand up for him. But instead, Stotts is so insecure that he can't even say that, or like.
I like him calling out the players because I don't want Dame and CJ to like him.
Right. Yeah. I absolutely agree with you, but I understand why he doesn't, because he can't He can't get them to turn on him. Yeah.
Yikes.
This is bad, man. Yeah.
I mean, it's just I was hoping to not have this crap this year, and I was like, I guess I was too optimistic. You know what I mean? I thought they would actually do what they said and actually try and institute different schemes and be adjustable offensively. I mean, Olshey said he wanted coaching changes, and this team has not changed anything. But like at this point, the excuses have run dry, and that's why you're seeing all this fire stuff. Because before you had a lot of different things you could pin it on or put it on in the past, right? And you saw people that will just make up excuse after excuse, you know, even if there isn't one. But in the past, Aminu and Harkless, man, you can't win with them. And then last year, oh, well, we don't have Aminu and Harkless, man. And then we're injured and, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And Stolshay doesn't do a good job of putting together enough of a roster for him. Well, now we're not injured. Now we have a better roster. Everybody's talking about how this is the best roster Dame has ever had. And we're blowing 20-point leads to the Bulls. And we're not injured. Oh, you can't blame Olshey because he put together a good roster. Like, people are running dry on excuses, and that's why you finally see some people, it's almost like they're forced to acknowledge that Stotts is not the right coach because the excuses are running dry. You know what I mean? Like, and you see that with media. Like, dude, and all the excuses in the past weren't true. Like, it was true for, like, certain things. Like, injuries definitely affected things, but, like, a lot of our issues weren't because of that. It was because of the coach. But now you just have nothing else to pawn it off on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
apparently, I don't know if he's talking to us, but apparently we just watch highlights and we need to actually watch the game to show that it's not Stotts.
Who said that?
Riley Harmier.
Yeah, this guy's. Yeah, I mean, bro, trust me, we watch the game. If you think we don't watch the game, I mean, I don't even want to like respond to him because he's obviously just a troll trying to like get attention right now because that's obviously false, man. Like. I mean, maybe he's new to this. Normally, we break down very specific stuff. If we could break down film, we break it down than anybody, better than anybody that covers the team. Trust me, my guy. I've done it in the past too. On a different channel when I worked at True Blazer Fan. When I had a partnership with him, since he does highlights, I did film breakdown and stuff. Trust me, my guy. You do not know who you're talking to if you think that.
And I'm 41 years old. I've been a Blazer fan my entire life. The only games I've missed, other than a handful over 40 years, are ones that haven't been on television because back in the 80s, not every game was on TV. And then there was some stuff in the mid to late 90s where not every game was on TV. But ever since they went to Comcast, I have not missed a single Blazer game. And if I did, I have it recorded and watch it later. It's so you can't use that crap with me.
Yeah. I got a couple tweets of like people like tweeting their screen while watching us. It's honestly still pretty cool to like see myself on a TV because I forget like, oh yeah, what I'm saying right now is like playing on somebody's TV somewhere. Obviously, I know everybody's watching. It's just kind of like, I don't know. Obviously, I don't see your guys' end of it. You know what I mean? I only have my end of it, my perspective. So I always like when people like tweet their screen with us on it to me on Twitter and seeing us on somebody's TV. It's still pretty cool. It's still like, I don't know. It's kind of cool. You know, I still like doesn't really set in. You know, just because I only see a camera and a mic and you and like chat in a viewer account.
It's funny because I have my eyes closed on that picture.
Yeah, and I'm making some weird face. But shout out, it's Aiden15. He says, screw it, these guys just spit facts. Yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter, because Twitter is a riot, man. For better or worse. Tonight it's a riot. We got our pitchforks out for Terry Stotts, and so does a lot of Twitter, man. I mean, you're talking about Stotts being the 23rd trending topic right now. Yeah. I mean, you even have guys that have always defended Stotts to us, like 503, saying Stotts really doesn't want his job for long. Like, I mean, yeah. Anyway, we can take your questions and whatnot. It's HCP says you're older than 21. He's digging at you. What's your response? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to go with. I don't even know where to go with this post.
Age jokes don't bother me one bit. I don't care.
Yeah,
I know I'm old,
the hairline jokes though, right?
I don't. Well, like it doesn't bother me. It's just wrong.
But Trevin says we have a mod abusing his power. Who's abusing power?
I think it was
Reese and Trevin beefing right now. Why are our mods beefing?
Reese put Riley in timeout, even though he probably didn't deserve to be put in timeout. But
I mean, if he like personally insults us or somebody else, put him in timeout. If it's not like something where he's like personally insulting anybody, then don't ban him.
I think all I saw was him making like a bunch of mellow comments that like he needs 10 post touches and
he's a mellow fan, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Exactly.
So I mean, like our mods might bans like give up, they don't permanently ban somebody, like most of the time it's just a 5-minute ban if people are spamming or whatnot. If people are like repeat offenders, then you start talking about permanent bans and whatnot. But like our mods, like I have to give them free reign, right? I can't see everything in chat, so I have to like let them. And sometimes they might put somebody in a 5-minute timeout when I wouldn't, but that's completely fine. Like that's just, you know, if they feel like somebody needs to be in a 5-minute timeout, they can. Just like that's the that's the rules there. But yeah, Trevin, just relax, my guy. we cannot have 2 of our 3 mods beefing. Westrick, you need to step in and break this up, man. Come on.
But Joel Feister had a $5 dono. He said, let's pour one out for Uncle Cliffy. So yeah, just to give you a point of reference, Uncle Cliffy was drafted in the 2nd round in 1989. I was 10 years old. That was my childhood, was watching that team with Porter, Drexler, Buck Williams, Kersey, Duckworth, and Uncle Cliffy on it. They were a pleasure to watch. Just such a great team.
Yep, appreciate that donation.
They never won, but yeah.
Let me just say this. Okay, I'm going to put this on the record right now. If the Blazers lose the next game, I will drink on stream. If I'm allowed to, based off YouTube. I will, like, get tipsy. I haven't been tipsy or drunk in, like, 3 years. All right? So, yeah, that is my offer to you guys, right? If, like, the Blazers completely... They shouldn't, because you're talking about a Minnesota Timberwolves team without Karl Anthony Towns. But maybe that's, like, we'll take a little bit of sting off. I will drink, and I will rant, and I will combine the two, and we'll see what that looks like. I don't know, man. I have no idea what that'll look like. I won't get too bad, but I will if we lose the next game. I'm making this offer to you guys right now. You got Kyle cheering for the Timberwolves. I don't know. I'll drink something fruity, man, because I'm kind of soft when it comes to drink. I don't drink really, so
we can get drunk like real quick before the stream. Just chug them.
Yeah. Blog Boy says Stotts is bad, but a lot of this is on players who are bottom in the league and assists, and I see why tonight. I counted at least 10 times where the guys shot, where one more pass, the open guy was available. Bro, dude, we've been near the bottom in assists year after year after year with different rosters, right? With completely different sets of players. Dame got 8 assists a game last year, and we were last in the league in assists, so obviously it's not a Dame problem. Nurkic is a good passing center who gets 3-4 assists per game. All the CJ's getting 6 assists a game right now and got 4 assists a game last year. For a shooting guard, he's solid in terms of getting assist numbers. So those 3 players don't hurt our assist numbers, right? It's everybody else supposedly, but the thing is everybody else on the team has consistently changed, right? It's all the role players around those 3 guys has consistently changed over the past 5 years, but the ball movement hasn't changed with it, and then the lack of ball movement isn't necessarily due to the 3 players that have been here. So that shows you that it's a coaching issue. So yeah, like obviously like players have to make the extra pass on something, but it's not emphasized enough. It's not held accountable enough. Stotts doesn't, like, you heard him, right? Like, we were taking contested threes in the fourth quarter. We could have maybe made the extra pass and we didn't do that. Did you hear Stotts say anything about the extra pass? If you're right and like we could have gotten better shots and probably won if we made the extra pass, then my question to you is, why didn't Stotts say anything about making an extra pass or passing the ball better or doing anything in that regard in the press conference? Instead, he just said, I loved our shots, man. We just missed shots. So if it was really something that Stotts was holding accountable and it was on the players instead and they didn't make the extra pass, if Stotts was holding accountable, he would have mentioned that in the post-game news conference, but he didn't, which shows you that he's not holding it accountable enough. So yeah, it's a coaching issue for like all those reasons, right? Like that's like maybe the simplest I can lay all of that out is it's not a roster thing, man. It definitely isn't. It's definitely a coaching thing. Like the players have to make the extra pass. They're the ones out there on the court, but it starts with the philosophy and what's emphasized and what's held accountable, and that's coach based.
We broke Portlandia. See ya, man.
Hopefully next game will be better, man.
But anyways, so yeah, I actually looked into this the other day. So like last year we're 30th, the year before that 26th, the year before that 30th, the year before that 26th in assists, that is. I think this year, I think we're near the bottom again. So here's the deal. It comes down to movement. And Blockboy, you have to be seeing this, what I see. I kind of watched the second half with Tori on a Zoom call or whatever, or on Discord. But there was one time where Derek Jones Jr. cut when Melo had the ball, and he kind of did a wraparound fake pass like he was going to pass to him. And it would have been a great pass because Derek Jones would have had a dunk. But other than that one play, every time Melo touched the ball, they just stand around. They stand around. They just stand there. I'm like, look, they're all standing around. Look, they're all standing around. And this is what happens when Dame goes one-on-one. We get a guy like Derek Jones Jr. We primarily just camp him in the corner. We could rack up the assist by having some like back screens, or it doesn't have to always be just a backdoor cut. Like there can be some action curling around a screen or something. Like you don't have to just do that. So it's absolutely on coaching. And if they're watching film and being like, why didn't you make the extra pass here? Why didn't you make the extra pass here? Why didn't you make the extra pass here? Like, why aren't we sharing the ball? Why aren't we doing like this fancy play like in the first Golden State game where Nurk drives down the middle, kicks it to the corner, who passes it up to the top of the key, who passes one more, who passes to Dame, who's wide open for a three splash. Like, why aren't we doing that more often? I haven't seen that play since. I haven't seen us share the ball like that since that play 2 games ago. So, yeah, it's just like if this is not coaching, it needs to be, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is because if it is on the players, then there needs to be a point where Stotts has to say, like, hey, look, I want to see 3 passes on this possession. If someone doesn't pass 3 times and shoots the ball before you pass 3 times, like, I know that's extreme, but like I've had coaches say that before. But yeah, like it's just crazy. And then you see him, like Bruno says, like he actually blames the players' effort instead of like his crappy game plan, because it couldn't possibly be the coaching, right, Stotts?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, hypothetically, maybe they could have played harder, but it doesn't seem like they weren't playing hard. Like, that's what has me confused on that, man. It's just, like, what specific areas did we lack effort in? Like, were we not fighting to get through screens? Were we not, like, we're not playing aware enough defense? You know, like, what was hurt specifically based off the effort? And that's what I would have asked them. That's would have been one of my questions. And if somebody asked that question, I would have applauded them. Like, what specifically was hurt in that quarter based off the lack of effort? Like, what specific areas of the game or areas of the defense were struggling that led to them getting 36 points that were due to a lack of effort?
And I'm telling you right now, playing a drop scheme leads to people being lackadaisical on defense. It leads to overhelping because it's natural when a guy has a head of steam, you think you have to help off more and stuff like that. So the fact that we're playing a lazy defense lets people relax on defense because, like, if Nurk has to blitz hard on a screen and he has to go out and trap really quick and has to be super aggressive, then he's engaged knowing what he's doing and he's going out and doing that. But if he's being told to step 5 feet behind the screen and just stand there and wait for him to happen, then you're just like standing there waiting to watch what happens instead of making the offense react to your decisions on defense. You're letting them dictate and do whatever they want against your defense. And until Stotts realizes that, and that was the whole point of getting Derek Jones Jr. and Robert Covington, is you, and for Olshay's comments about scheme needing to change, because you cannot be a good defense when you lay back and not be aggressive. Because every time Dame gets taken out of games, it's because the defense is super aggressive and selling out to stop him. And we don't even do that to a guy who has 62 points against us. So, and you see that when, like, the games where Dame goes off, are they really, like we saw tonight, the Bulls were playing drop coverage a lot because Billy Donovan's also a horrible coach.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, and we weren't making a lot of our threes. Like Zach LaVine shot 6 of 18, but on the last possession, if Nurk just blitzes hard off that pick instead of standing 2 or 3 feet behind the pick, like he would have had to make a much tougher 3, and maybe we would have gotten the ball back down 1 instead of.
Here's the thing. Yeah, 100%. On that last possession, and me and Eric said this while watching the game together, I said, you trap every pick and roll, right? And then you rotate out of it, and you rotate strong to the 3-point line, right? If they get a layup, that's fine. You're still down 3. You only need 1 3. What kills you here is a 3. If you're down 1 with, there was like 17 on the game clock, 10 on the shot clock or whatever. In that situation, the last thing you want to do is give up a 3. You either foul, make them make 2 free throws and extend the clock, or you play defense and hope they miss, but make sure you don't give up a 3. The last thing you do there is give up a 3, because that makes it a 2-possession game and you're basically dead in the water, even if Dame hits an insane fadeaway running backwards 3-point shot, which he did. You know what I mean? Like, you basically would have to hit 2. So that's the thing. In that situation, you do not want to give up 3s. If you force a turnover, you could get a run out the other way and completely change the complexion of the game and get a bucket, right? Or at worst, you give up a 2-pointer and they score, right? So you trap the pick and roll. You don't let him walk off a screen and get up an open shot. Even though he was deep, even though he was like 28 feet away from the rim, he's a 25-point per game scorer. He's a very talented scorer. You do not let him walk off a screen into an open 3-point shot. That's the last thing you have to give up. So why in the world is the big dropping instead of just bring the big up and just say hard trap? Maybe he forced a turnover because he hasn't seen it all game and he's not expecting it. Or
he would have been like, whoa, like what do I do? He might have picked up his dribble, and then you would have had him trapped. He didn't have enough time to pass out of that because the shot clock's running out. There's so many things.
That's just another example of poor situational defense based off coaching. Like, you 100% trap there, okay? And if he gets a pass out, you rotate out strong to the 3-point line. If you leave somebody under the hoop open for a dunk, it's like effectively as if you fouled, and gave up 2 free throws. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you might give that up, but at least it's still a 1-possession game. And if they, he came off that screen with like 7 on the shot clock, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, if you trap hard and he makes a quick pass out of it, they get a quick dunk, you preserve 4 or 5 seconds or so, and then you're only down 1. Like, that's not a bad situation to be in. That's better than giving up a wide open 3. So that defense on that last possession where they let LaVine get that 3 was terrible. Just another example of poor situational coaching. And that's another thing. He doesn't adjust to situations well. He doesn't make adjustments. He doesn't really adjust rotations. Like, you'll see it, occasionally where he'll like switch something up, and Giles got a little bit of burn tonight, but he doesn't adjust to situations well, and he's not adaptable, and his situational defense is terrible. There was a play where, I don't know if you were about to talk about this, but there's a play where in the last minute of the game, we had 2 timeouts left, and CJ McCollum's on the floor for a defensive possession. Like, we came out of a timeout for a defensive possession, and then we knew we were going to call a timeout. Why wasn't Gary Trent Jr. on the floor instead? Like, another
he was
example.
Kobe White, who hit a shot on him,
Yeah, like another example of poor situational coaching. Like, we're definitely going to call a timeout after that. We have 2 left. It's under a minute. And we did call a timeout after that. So that's the thing. It's just, the situational stuff is bad too.
See, we play defense hoping they miss shots, and that's horrible. You'll never win enough games to win a title if you play that kind of defense. And we don't change it up in the playoffs. Like, it's not like we get more aggressive or something as the season goes along, except for like randomly a game where we play Houston every once in a while, we'll be aggressive. But for some reason, we can't do that on the last possession of a game because these players haven't had enough practice time, right? They don't know what they're doing, even though they execute it flawlessly against a team like Houston last year. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, we didn't even change our inbounds play. The inbounds play we ran that got the Dame 3, we ran that same exact play the next time and they were ready for it. We did, bro, he doesn't even change up his inbounds play. Like, you are running a side inbounds twice in a row. You're telling me you don't have more than one play for a 3? Are you kidding me? You're in the NBA, you don't have more than one play? Like, that was ridiculous too. Like, we ran the same damn play and they shut it down because they literally just saw it the previous possession and we got a 3 off of it. So, like, yeah, okay, run that play once. It worked. Okay, change it up so they're not ready for what you're about to throw out there. Maybe have something that looks like the same play, but you have like a wrinkle in it or like just a different version of it where they might be expecting the original play, so they might be defending based off that, and then you could use that against them to your advantage to maybe get somebody free. But no, like, we didn't do that, and we got a turnaround very bad 3. Like, God, I mean, there's just so much you can point out that's just ridiculous, that doesn't make sense. I mean...
Yeah, it's frustrating. But once again, I mean, if we were a well-coached team, we wouldn't have had to come it down. And we both noticed, or were saying this while it was happening, is that you can't let a team like this hang around. You could tell in the third quarter they were starting to get confident, like they could steal this game, and we just let them hang around right till the end, and cost us the game because we didn't take care of business when we could have put them away earlier on in the game. It's just so frustrating, and yeah, I cannot believe we're 3-4 right now. I mean, we were 2-1, right? We were 2-1, so we're 1-3 our last 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, 8 out of the 11 games we've played very bad basketball this year, like very bad. 8 out of the 11 games, we are not right where we want to be. CJ says I thought Tori was like 5'6". What? You thought I was 5'6"? Do I look 5'6" when I'm on screen or something? That's funny to me. No, I'm 6'4". Yeah.
Yeah, I yelled about that, Block Boy. I mean, I guess you could say Dame kind of stopped and initiated the contact on that inbound play.
They never call that.
But they're not going to let a game be decided on something like that. So yeah,
they might call it in like the first half. They don't call that when the game's on the line. I mean, I'm fine with him trying it if he knows he's not going to be open, and maybe you can bait it, especially in a 4-possession game. Like I would try too. Like because if they call that foul, you get a free throw, and then you're only down 3. Because if you foul on the inbounds in like the last 2 minutes, I think it is, if you foul on before the ball is inbounded, while the inbounder is still holding the ball, then it's 1 free throw for the inbounding team, and then they get to inbound again. So it's like a technical, basically.
That's the other thing too, is on the last defensive possession, when Levine hit that 3, even if we fouled him on purpose there before he shoots the 3, getting 2 free throws is better than him hitting a 3 too. So like, if it looks like he's going to possibly shoot or going to come off a screen, you might as well just foul him on the screen if you're not going to trap it. Because in that situation, you have to trap all screens, like you said. If you're not going to be aggressive, you might as well play the foul game and hope they miss free throws, and then you're only down 3 and can hit a 3 to tie it on the other end, right? So just horrible situational basketball.
Yeah.
So I just want to address something. So Nate McMillan, Alvin Gentry, Fizdale, Mark Jackson, any of those guys, I say no to all of them.
Yeah.
I don't want these guys who could potentially be like Stotts and have their stuck in their ways. I'm sick of the old way of doing things. I want someone who's going to come in here with fresh ideas, who hasn't really gotten a chance, or someone who has shown that they deserve a head coaching spot, someone who could come in and I don't know, just jumpstart this team with some fresh set of eyes on it. I don't want someone who's just going to come in and be like, oh, we're going to run this defense because it's my defense and it's worked in Miami when I had LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. It worked like a guy like David Fizdale or something. I'm not saying he would do that, but like that would be my worry about those type of guys. Like I just want someone with some fresh ideas. Like we mentioned with Nick Nurse in Toronto. He might have gotten a little complacent after he won a title. Maybe you could say that, but I guarantee that guy was working his butt off the year he was first brought in as a coach, because he's young and he has to prove himself, and he's probably like, thinking of all these ideas and stuff, whereas Stas is just like, I really don't want to change my system. Maybe I'll try to act like I'm doing it, and then I'll just, like, how can I make it look like I'm changing it without actually changing it? Like, he's more worried about what his answers are going to be or how he's going to defend himself in a press conference versus actually doing something about his stupid defense.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, he's coaching like that, man, because his defense isn't... Bro, what? There's nothing different from last year. How do you not... I ask, how do you not adjust a single thing from the year before? It's exactly the same with, like, a different roster, with different guys than you had last year. How do you not adjust that? But, like, it's not even... It's a rhetorical question. This Terry Stas is the answer. He doesn't adjust. Terry Stas is the answer to that question. How do you not adjust things when a player is dropping 62 on you and you don't change your defense once? Well, you have Terry Stas as your coach who doesn't adjust. So, yeah.
So I've mentioned this name before, but Jerry Stackhouse. So in watching film on Aaron Nesmith for the draft, I heard him say that Stackhouse is like a film junkie, and he breaks down every single defensive closeout every time you get, like, put in an ISO situation, every box out you have, every little part of the defense, and he gives every single person a grade on that particular play, and then he gives them an overall score for the game. And then if you are below a certain score, he has you, like, come into his office and watch film with him and lets you know what you want to do wrong. So a guy like that who's going to put in the time to make his team better, I don't know if he'll be a good coach or not, but I like hearing, like, I want to hear that our coach is doing stuff like that to make sure. And if he's doing that and you hear about it and you know that's what his process is, and the players still are making mistakes, then you can start to say maybe it's on the personnel or whatever, or if they're trying different schemes or whatever. But, like, we're not even trying different schemes, and that's the problem. We heard we were going to try new schemes. If we lost to Chicago tonight because we blitzed every pick and they just found a way to score anyway, but it was obvious we were doing stuff different, and it was like a new style, and we're like, okay, that's cool that we actually saw something new. It didn't work out this game, but at least they tried blitzing them. Then we could sit here and say, like, okay, they're actually doing something coaching wise, but, like, I honestly can't tell, like, what they do in practice. Like, what do they even do? Like, do they work on anything in practice?
I mean, everybody that says that, they need time to figure things out. What improvement have you seen from the preseason to Game 7? What improvements have you seen? Game 1 to Game 7. The thing is, all this talk about, everybody needs time to play better. Well, yeah, they might be playing better, but so is every other team, so you're not gaining. You know what I mean? Like, this team doesn't look any... The team that played tonight didn't look any better than the team that lost to 20 against Utah on opening night. The thing is, Utah made a lot more of their open shots and are just a better team than Chicago, right? So, yeah, no different. So, okay, they need time. Well, then, okay, if time is going to help us improve, then why haven't we seen any improvement from Game 1 to Game 7? The same people that are saying, it's just Game 1, or it's just Game 2, are now saying, it's just Game 7. And then they'll be saying, it's just Game 15. You need 20 games to know if this team can really, like, what they can do, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just a bunch of fluff and a bunch of excuses that aren't reality. Like, no, these problems exist because of who is leading this team. These problems existed all year last year and they didn't improve. Like, these issues don't improve with Terry Stotts as coach. Like, so it's not going to improve with time. People try and trick themselves into thinking this is an okay situation, and it's not. It's absolutely not. So...
Blockboy says, I'll say this, the NBA has been weird, a lot of blowouts and a lot of weird losses. And yes, if this was outlier games that we're not used to, but like I said, Tori and I've known him for almost 4 years, I think, coming up here in a month or so. So, like... Yeah.
I got something to reply to in a sec, but you gotta go.
4 years of us saying that these problems exist. It's not a matter of, oh, a weird season, oh, they haven't had practice time. These are all things that Stotts does not know how to improve on, and they're not going to improve no matter if you give him 800 practices or he has no practices. It's going to look exactly the same when it comes to the floor.
Yeah, there's this comment that I really do not understand, because you gave the coaches that you don't want, and then you gave a guy like Jerry Stackhouse, who you do want. You also talked about Nick Nurse and obviously we can't get Nick Nurse, but you have this guy saying, give us coaches' names then that you want, basically. I heard names you don't want, so give us the names you want. That's basically what XC Depp is saying. He just talked about Jerry Stackhouse. We want a coach like that.
And earlier we talked about how that's like an enabler attitude, and you mentioned how it doesn't matter. We're not in charge of hiring.
Yeah, we want certain qualities in a coach. A coach we might not have ever heard of might possess those qualities, right? And it's the front office's job to run an interview process to identify that they want those qualities and then go find a candidate who fits their profile and can provide those qualities. So you don't have to have a replacement in mind to want Stotts gone, because there's certain things that I want this team to do that they don't do under Stotts. So I want Stotts gone, and I want them to hire a coach that actually does those things. And I've tossed out names numerous times in the past of guys that I think could do those things. Eric just tossed out Jerry Stackhouse. I'd be on board with that just from what I've heard from Eric. So yeah, I mean, we do toss out names, but the whole thing, people always asking for names, who would you want instead, is I mean, we want certain qualities. It doesn't have to be a specific person, right? I agree. I don't want those coaches. I don't want a Nate McMillan. I don't want a Mark Jackson. I don't want an Alvin Gentry, because I don't think those guys provide the qualities that I want. So yeah, normally, I don't know. I'm not just going to toss out a bunch of names, because there's probably a guy out there that would be a great coach for this team that I haven't heard of. Nobody had heard of Nick Nurse before he got to be the head coach of the Raptors, and he was the perfect candidate for them to hire. And everybody was saying, wow, you just fired the coach of the year in Dwayne Casey. Everybody knew Dwayne Casey, and you hired this guy nobody's ever heard of? What are you doing, right? But, I mean, it was the right hire. So it could be a guy we've never heard of. We never heard of the guy who Indiana hired this year, and they've looked solid so far this season. And based on what I've heard about how that guy looks at the game and what he values, he would have been a great coach for the Blazers, and I've never heard of him, and I don't even remember how to say his name. I don't even remember his name. But the head coach of the Indiana right now, just reading some of his quotes and some things that are said about his coaching style. So yeah, that's the thing.
And that's why So someone, actually, Dev says that the hard part about new coaches is not all assistants have been head coaches before. Well, that's why you bring in a good assistant that has maybe sat on or been a head coach or something. And I don't know why do we still have the same staff as last year? They're all good guys, but it's not working. So if Stotts can't coach, at least if you're not going to fire him, at least bring in a new assistant. I know they did that stupid consulting thing with Jim Boylan, but at least make him an assistant coach or something. I'm not saying I want that.
Yeah, no to Jim Boylan, but yeah.
But make a something and say hey, we're gonna bring in. My favorite idea is to bring in Earl Watson, because I've watched his Instagram. On his Instagram he breaks down film, and I watched several of his videos last year breaking down why the Toronto Raptors defense was so good, and I like his the terminology and the way he explains it. Seems like it would be easy to translate to players. He didn't do very well as the head coach in Phoenix. Now, no one really did until last year when Antonio Harvey not Antonio Harvey, Monty Williams. I don't know why I said Antonio Harvey. Monty Williams. I'm getting my old Blazers mixed up. Monty Williams, is a decent coach too. So he got that team turned around. But they just need someone to bring in like that and say, hey, look, we're struggling with defense. We can't figure it out. We are going to give you full control of the defense. Let's see what you see. Let's see what you can do with these guys. Something like that. Because I don't think, if I was the GM and I'm watching these games, I would go into Stott's office and say, either you bring someone in who can coach your defense and you can figure it out together, and you let him show you how to do it, or you're gone, because you cannot do it. You obviously cannot do it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% agree. You know who I'd love as the coach of this team? Mark Few. Bro, I watch Gonzaga, and I'm a big Gonzaga fan. I watch Gonzaga, and it's just like they're such a well-coached team, dude. It's such like night and day difference, just the style of basketball they play. And obviously, college is a little different than the NBA, but Mark Few is a guy who's constantly gotten far more out of the players he's gotten than anybody else. He turned Brandon Clark into an NBA guy. He turned Rui Hachimura into an NBA guy. Like, he gets unheralded guys and turns them into legit NBA players. Kelly Olynyk was unheralded, and now he's in the league. Like, I mean, bro, and just the way they play basketball is exactly how I want this Blazer team to play. The way they cut, the way they move the ball, the way they defend, just the way they do everything. And it's just like, you can never say like, oh, well, he just gets the best players or anything. No, he develops guys. You got Corey Kispert, who was unheralded. He'll be an NBA guy. Same with Drew Timme, likely is going to be a second-round pick this year. Jalen Suggs was his first, like, top 10 prospect ever, but he was, like, 7th, 8th guy. Now there's a legitimate chance he might go number 1 with the way he's playing. That's that. I would love Mark Few. I don't want him to hire Mark Few because I love having him for my Gonzaga Bulldogs. I'd rather get another coach like Mark Few that could do similar things and leave Mark Few with my Gonzaga Bulldogs. But I mean, I love watching Gonzaga, the way they play, it's just like oftentimes I'm watching that game, I'm like, oh, I wish the Blazers ran this scheme. I wish the Blazers rotated like this. I wish the Blazers moved the ball like this.
Jimmy,
See,
why don't you just go back, Jimmy Rustler, about 10 minutes ago when I talked exactly why I thought Stackhouse was a good idea, if you want me to explain why. I don't understand. Like, are you guys not listening? Like, I literally just talked about
Here's
that
the thing that I can't stand is when people tune in and then within a minute tell us what they want us to talk about when we're like an hour and a half into streams. I hate when people do that, like XC Depp was like kind of relevant to the topic. I guess he just missed when you were talking about Jerry Stackhouse, but people legitimately like come in here within an hour and a half and just expect like, just tell us what to talk about. And like, you guys need to talk about this. And we've like already talked about it in length. And they just immediately come in and tell us what to talk about. Like, bro, I hate when people come in here and tell us what to talk about. It's like, dude, we're not just gonna be told.
I know Jimmy's been in here, but like, yeah, it's just kind of.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily talking about Jimmy or anything. I'm just talking about like there's specific people that come in here like, talk about this. It's like we've already talked about that, and like we're in the middle of a conversation about something else. Like we have to have it flow. So like we appreciate questions a ton that are like, we're referencing the topic we talk about, and if you tune in an hour and a half in, there's a good chance that what you want us to talk about, we've already talked about. You know what I mean? So like, if you're here from the start of the stream and then an hour and a half we haven't talked about it, and you ask us a question about it, like, cool. You know what I mean? Like, what we haven't talked about. Or after a while, if you've tuned in halfway through and near the end, you haven't talked about something, you could ask us to talk about something. It's just people will jump in immediately after tuning into the stream and tell us what to talk about, and it's always like, really? I don't get it. But yeah. Anyway, we'll probably wrap this up soon so we can take questions now if you want us to talk about something specific.
Yeah. So, Atkinson, I don't know. He got kind of a bum deal in the Nets, but I don't know. He seems more old school than new school. I mean, I guess I wouldn't hate it just because, like, I don't think he did a bad job at the Nets. He just got fired because of Kyrie and Kevin Durant. But Jock Vaughn did a pretty good job for them, but he was a head coach before that and was awful. But yeah, the 15 and 30 thing for Jerry Stackhouse, I mean, Naismith got hurt in the non-conference games, and he was like their only really good. I mean, they had one other good player, but like, I mean, they're playing a Power 5 conference and they lost their best player. I don't know. Not making excuses for him, but like Vanderbilt's a really tough place to win as well because you don't have the requirements to get in are a lot different than the other SEC schools. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, obviously his record isn't good. But I just meant like that type of guy who's going to work tirelessly to improve. Whether he can do it or not is another thing. I just like guys who put in the effort to seemingly do it.
Dion says discuss ideal minute plan. I mean, honestly, the minutes, I'm kind of okay with the minutes. I wish Giles would get more minutes over Canner at this point. But it's more so like I don't want Canner playing with Melo. I want them to stagger those two guys and pair those two guys more like with good defenders, you know, so like Melo with Nurk and like Derek Jones Jr. or Rocco at the 4 next to Canner.
Yeah, I haven't really. I don't know. I wish they would. I don't like going like in the second quarter we had a normal, you know, CJ, Gary Trent, Melo, Cantor, you know, like I don't want that. Like if we're struggling to score for 6 minutes or 10 possessions or whatever, it is like. Well, maybe switch it up, like play a different lineup or something. Like, I don't know, just do something different.
Vivek just got himself banned on everything since you gave him his final warning because he was being toxic in the Discord. Now he's coming in here being toxic, so now he is banned on Discord and he is hidden in chat. We're not going to put up with that, man.
And so one other guy that I saw mentioned a lot was David Vanderpool. So I like Vanderpool a lot, but the only thing I'd be worried about is he's part of the Stotts regime. So, like, if I interviewed him and he was like, look, I wanted to make changes, Stotts didn't, that's why I left. So, like, I wanted to implement this kind of system or whatever. And, like, Stotts, like, refuted that and said, like, no, we're going to stick with my system. And like it was leading to me going to interviews because you got a lot of interviews for head coaching jobs, and they were like, maybe, okay, so you're running the defense, like what schemes were you using? And he would probably be like, well, I wanted to do this, but Stotts won't let me, type of thing. And that's probably not a good way to interview for jobs, right? So he was probably like, I mean, there's a reason why he took a similar position with the Minnesota Timberwolves that he had here. Yeah. So like, if I had to guess, I would say that he'd probably be better in terms of adapting and doing stuff. But something in the back of my mind would be like, let's just get away from anything to do with Stotts or any coaches of the last few years, and then just like find someone that's new that hasn't been associated with any of this team and see if they can come in and bring some fresh ideas versus maybe some that overlap with Stotts or whatever. Yeah. But if you're talking about bringing in someone this year, I don't know, like it's kind of hard to talk to an assistant on another team, but like that wouldn't be a bad idea because like there would be some continuity there since he has been coach in the past.
Yeah, Lukrovka's in here. Like maybe he might have some insight on if there was anything like Vanderpool wanted to do that he wasn't able to do as the assistant coach. Cause...
and he's obviously right. I mean, just the way Dame talked about him, he was known as the guard whisperer, and like they had a great relationship, which also surprised me why he would leave for a similar position on another team.
Yeah, so I feel like there's more to that. Like, why would he leave just to be an assistant coach in Minnesota when he has such a great relationship with the players in Portland?
You also had so the year after Aldridge left. We made the second round. We had Jay Triano on our staff, who was a former head coach, and he left to take the assistant job with Phoenix when Earl Watson was hired there. So, like, I mean, some of that might just be like that's a better fit for some people. It might not be anything to do with Stotts, but there is some history of lead assistants leaving Stotts.
Let me just respond because I accidentally mistyped. Jimmy says, are we going to start wanting more from Covington? He has a PAR of 6 right now. That can't be good for starting wing 4 when the other big contenders have LeBron, AD, PG, Kawhi with 25 PER. Well, those guys, who were their guards? They got like Pat Beverly, Alex Caruso. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like bad guards, and our star power is in our guards and stuff, our forwards. We didn't bring Covington in to like have a PER of 20 or be some phenomenal scorer, right? And Covington was fine tonight. He was 4 for 9 from 3, 5 for 10 from the field. How many points did he finish with? Like 14 points. He was fine on offense tonight. You know what I mean? I always said, like, if he gets good looks, like, he'll start cashing them in. He's just kind of an inconsistent he's kind of an inconsistent guy. So, some games he'll shoot hot, some games he won't, but he brings defense. We brought him in for defense, so I have no issues with his play. Lukrovka says our next head coach will be Canales or Ime Udoka. I'd be down with Ime Udoka. I mean, I don't know if I'd be down with Canales. I mean, I was very young when he was the interim. I shouldn't say very young, but obviously I don't know. I didn't know enough about basketball back then. So
he's a good assistant. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go that route, but
good guy too.
There's a lot of interesting college coaches, but you probably wouldn't be able to get them mid-season. So there's a lot of guys you probably couldn't get mid-season assistants as well.
Although if there was ever a season where something weird like that could happen, it would be this one where no one really seems to care about the college basketball season other than like basketball junkies.
Yeah, I mean, I care a ton, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that team.
All your team's games are being canceled.
We played 10. We got a few canceled, but we replaced it with Virginia. I wish we could have beaten Baylor because we could have beaten like 3 top 4 teams because we beat Kansas. We beat Kansas isn't top 4 anymore, but we beat Kansas. We beat Iowa. I think we would have beaten Baylor, even though there's the number 2 ranked team. I'm loving Gonzaga basketball. I've never won a championship. I've never had any of my favorite teams win a championship. So I don't care if nobody else cares about college basketball this year. I just want that monkey off my back and one of my favorite teams to win a championship just so I know what that feels like, because I have no idea what that feels like, man. I've gotten close to getting that feeling. The 49ers almost got that done. Yes, I'm a Niners fan. I know that might upset some people in chat. 49ers almost got it done last year, and then they choked, man. So my sports life is pretty tragic, and I just need that monkey off my back because I don't know what it feels like to win a championship, man.
I'm also a Niner fan, so that was the last championship of any of my teams that was won. So
yeah,
that was back in '94.
Yeah, that was before I was born. That was before I was born. So yeah. Nayland says, "Why do you support Gonzaga? Any history?" Well, I mean, they're from Spokane, so they are from Washington State. I know it's opposite corner of Washington State, but I guess they are kind of local. And their story, I love their story, and just the mid-major that turned into kind of a bit of a blue blood. They haven't won the championship yet to pair with that to really solidify that. But I think hopefully it's coming. But I watched, my grandfather was a big Gonzaga fan, so I watched college basketball before I started watching the NBA. I remember watching Adam Morrison when he was in college when I was 9 or so, and watching a ton of Gonzaga games with my grandfather. So
you like the stash?
Dude, I was so upset when they didn't draft him, but I was also 9 years old, so and he was my guy from Gonzaga. And then, but I watched a little bit of the Huskies, and I was like, oh, okay, we got Brandon Roy. That's cool. So yeah, I didn't really know, much about the NBA. But then when the Blazers got Brandon Roy, a guy that I saw play, because I only watched college basketball that year before, I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna start watching them now. They got Brandon Roy, he's from Washington, and then I started watching them and became a diehard fan his rookie year. Got really into the Blazers, and then got super hyped when they got first overall pick, and then they drafted Greg Oden, and yeah, that was the start of my Blazer fandom, was that tragic sequence of events. But yeah, so yeah, Morrison got more chips than the entire Blazers franchise. Yikes. I mean, that dude rode his way to championships. Yeah, I just want a championship, man. I just want a championship. Either it's from the Blazers. Number one team I want it from is obviously the Blazers, but I'd be happy just to get the monkey off my back, so to say. So anyway, that's probably going to wrap up the stream. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
So Dion's been asking about Becky Hammond. I wouldn't have a problem with Becky. I think that'd be kind of cool to have the first.
Any pop disciples, I would be okay with. It's just how, I don't know. Is she a player's coach, or is she going to be a coach that holds players accountable, kind of like Popovich? You know what I mean? That's a lot of coaches. I can't tell how much they'll hold players accountable for certain things. I just want a coach that holds players accountable. So. Jimmy says Zag's a blue blood, huh? I mean, they're getting there. They're constantly near the top of the country year after year after year. They're starting to get top prospects. They got Jalen Suggs. They might get Chet Holmgren, who's the number 1 player in next year's class. And the rumor is they are the leader for Chet Holmgren. I mean, that's pretty blue blood to me. They just haven't had the championship yet. They're knocking on the door of being a blue blood, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Oh, I think we need a title to be a blue blood.
Yeah, I mean that's the point.
So if they win a title, I think they for sure be up there at least in recent history.
But like talking about a team that's won titles like 2 and 3 years, Villanova has, but like they haven't had like the super long sustained success that like most blue bloods have. So like if they continue to have like sustained long success, then because Gonzaga has like sustained success for the most part, just doesn't have the championship. Villanova has won a couple championships and has had a decent run of success, but and it's good again this year. But you need more.
I mean they won a title in the '80s too, and were good. Historically good. Gonzaga's more of the last 10 15 years type of.
Yeah, but like blue blood, you think they're just constantly like a top 3-4 seed team at worst. I mean Kentucky will like have a letdown every 1 in 5 years to completely miss the tournament, but they're still a blue blood. They get top prospects and stuff. That's the other part, is like generally getting top prospects helps your status in that regard, which like Michigan State I feel like is one, Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky.
My school will never be a blue blood at anything.
Poor Oregon State, man.
Oh, baseball, I guess. I have to take that.
Oh, yeah, you got baseball, man.
I meant basketball and
anything you care about.
Basketball. Well, I mean, baseball's cool, but not college. College is like the
yeah.
Basketball and football is all that really matters.
Yep. So anyway,
I mean, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. I loved that they won, but
Max, I would be so hyped if we got Chet Holmgren. My fingers are crossed for that one. That would be fun. Hunter Sal's a pretty good player too. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big Gonzaga fan. And the Niners had a tragic year, so that was rough. But yeah, I mean, right now one of my teams is good, and it's not the Blazers, sadly. Hopefully they can turn it around, and I don't know. I mean, this team just has some serious issues that I don't have confidence in them being fixed anytime soon. So I mean, hopefully it happens, right? We'll say that after every letdown game, but this team has to play a better brand of basketball than it did tonight, or you can expect more losses like this over the next month, which is a very easy schedule, but you got to take advantage of it, and you got to play good basketball against teams that are inferior to yours. And the Bulls were definitely an inferior team tonight that still came back from a 20-point deficit and got a win, which is just pretty inexcusable for me. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful things will improve against the Timberwolves, right? If they lose against the Timberwolves, I'm doing a drinking stream tomorrow in the post-game show. I will drink a bit, and that can be the silver lining if the Blazers somehow blow. Not tomorrow, 2 days from now. If the Blazers blow the next game, that's your silver lining. I will get tipsy for you guys, and we'll see how wild that gets. I mean, I'm already pretty riled up after this game. I can't imagine if we lose to the Timberwolves, man. I mean, that's the worst team in the league right now without Cat. I mean, you gotta take care of business. So anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this outro. Anything else you have left to say?
No, just bummed out.
Yeah, just a bummer of a game. Fun post game stream though.
Yeah.
This is one of our more rantier streams.
Sorry, Mom, for yelling.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is what there's definitely a few moments of the stream that would be fun to clip. We need to start like writing down timestamps. I need to maybe Mods could help with that, but they have a ton of work just patrolling chat and whatnot. So yeah. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for chilling with us after this brutal game, this brutal letdown. Blazers choked tonight. No other way to put it. Hopefully they don't do it next time. We will be live before the next game over on Blazers Uprise Live. We'll have picks against the spread and all of that. And then we'll have the post-game show that night. So that's 2 streams in one day on Thursday. Hopefully you guys can tune in for that. We'd love to see you there. And we love all the support that you guys give us night in, night out. It's been fun this season just in terms of, how much support we've gotten and how many people we've kind of brought into the fold here, and just getting to know a few more of you newer people in chat. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Follow me at Tori Jones YT on the Twitter. Follow Eric at HoopsJock. Follow the channel at Blazers Uprise YT. The link is down in the description below. For our Blazers Uprise live streams, we actually do those on a second channel. It's our secondary streaming channel, and that is just past 900 subs. It'd be cool to get that up to 1,000. So if you want to go subscribe to that, so that you can tune in for our Monday and Thursday streams that go live at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, there is a link down in the description box below as well for that. Anyway, that's a wrap for the stream. Hopefully, I mean, I'll try to be optimistic, but it's starting to wear a little bit thin. But hopefully they can turn things around this month. We'll have to wait and see on that. Anyway, that's a wrap for me and Eric. We'll catch you guys later. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.